Hello, everyone. Good morning. Yeah. How's the chat doing? 331 people here this morning. Nice to see you. Is this my baby making music? I don't know. Woo! We got quite a morning here. Incredible. Hi, Wyatt Saffron. Hello, Poison Blade. Hello, Wayne Mason. I'm here. I just woke up, but I am ready to rock and roll, everyone. We have a big show, as Ed Sullivan used to say. Really big. He said really big show. People say he said shoe, but he didn't. He said show. Hi, everyone. People are wondering where the wig is. There's no wig today. Today's too serious for that. Yesterday was time for goofballery. Today, it's all business. Today, we've got important things to discuss. The weekend is over. Captain Marvel box office. And boy, howdy, were we blindsided by... Well, we shouldn't have been blindsided. There were people who were saying, look, this is going to be huge. And I was just thinking, well, no, but SJW stuff always fails. It always fails. So surely this is going to fail too. And the truth of the matter is, yeah, it's kind of not how SJWism works, especially not initially. Captain Marvel opening weekend box office results. Captain Marvel launched with a massive debut at the domestic and international box office. Look, it made $153 million domestically. So, I mean, they're more tempered down estimates about Captain Marvel. And what it was going to earn this weekend. They exceeded those. They were saying initially it was going to make 180, but they ended up saying 150. And look at this, 153. Big international. They're at 455 million, which, depending on who you ask, they broke even. I don't think they broke even yet, personally. I don't think they broke even at all. But they're going to probably break even by this next weekend. And what does this mean? Oh, it means awful stuff. It means SJWs are emboldened. They're excited. They're psyched to ruin more. They're psyched to ruin the MCU. They're going to be psyched to ruin Star Wars more. They're going to think this means it's time to ruin more comics. And this is propellant. This is absolutely like rocket fuel for them to go full speed ahead and continue to do more kind of identity politic bullshit. But, you know, the truth of the matter is that this, you know, the American public doesn't know what's going on. This movie was not particularly liked. It wasn't reviewed very well. It got middling to poor reviews, and people are coming away from it. I don't know. I don't know how people are feeling. Are people feeling like Captain Marvel is the hero that they were always looking for? Or are people thinking, all right, yeah, now can we get to Avengers Endgame, please? Which is kind of what I think happened. Kevin Feige brilliantly and strategically placed this movie 6 weeks before Avengers Endgame and made it seem like this was a piece of the puzzle that people needed to see before they saw the much anticipated enormous movie that was going to be coming out to close out the Avengers quadrilogy. And that was smart. I mean, it was just obviously it was a very, very smart thing to do. People are anxious. People are itching for that movie. And they gave this movie a big win. It is the 7th biggest opening 7th biggest opening weekend for any Marvel movie. I mean, you see these ones, these kind of later Marvel movies, which just goes to show that the MCU is a steamroller. It's just a steamroller. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. These are all, look at this, Avengers Infinity Wars, the #1 movie. That was the last real Marvel movie. Avengers was #2, Black Panther #3, Avengers Age of Ultron #4, Captain America Civil War, Iron Man 3, which despite what everyone says, I really liked. I liked Iron Man 3. Yeah, the Mandarin was a bit of a disappointment, but it was good. And then comes Captain Marvel. I mean, these are just recent-ish Marvel movies. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Is this incredible? No, not really. But it is. It's substantial enough to call it a win. And yeah, we'll see how the second weekend goes. We'll see how word of mouth helps or hurts this movie at the box office. But we'll see if it has legs, essentially. I mean, the thing about Wonder Woman is that, initially when it came out, it did all right. Its opening weekend was like 98, I think, between 98 and 99 million. But people weren't expecting it to be good. I hate to say it, the DCEU had such a terrible track record that people went to see Wonder Woman and they kind of limped into the movie theater. It wasn't until after everyone saw it and realized that it was a magnificent movie that the movie kind of carried on to its incredible success. So will Captain Marvel have the same thing going for it? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. We'll find out this weekend, and I'll still be tracking it. I am working my face off on Cyberfrog. This book has to get finished and off to the printer. So I can't do as many film videos as I want to. I really prefer making these like 10-minute film videos. But when I'm really working, these live streams just make it easier because I can talk about everything that I want to talk about. And if it's just me, I can probably get the whole show done in an hour in the morning. So that's kind of convenient for me. Here is 18-year-old Heather Swain. This is what's on my desk right now. And this is the introduction, of course, to Heather when Cyberfrog first meets her. And it's kind of fun because I took the first issue of Cyberfrog and I'm just kind of redoing this. Oh, sorry. This is the initial introduction to Heather Swain. Look at her ripped up jeans. This is so 90s. Look at the big round boobies. Yeah, well, I was 19 when I drew this. But just the same kind of introduction to, to Heather Swain. And I wanted to be reminiscent. When I was drawing this, when I was actually working on this and looking through the book, I was like tempted. I'm just like, I feel like right now I'm so free. I can do whatever I want to do. And it would be so fun to just, for no reason, just redo the first issue of Cyberfrog. I'm redrawing this one page. It'd be so fun to just redraw that whole first issue. Oh, hey, Akari Press. Hey, Antonio, he's in the chat right now. Yeah, absolutely. Big round boobies, quote EVS. You can quote me on that, quote unquote, big round boobies. That's the way people used to draw boobs in the 90s. You just get a circle template. I mean, it was like, well, I mean, you live and learn. I mean, you learn how to do things. You initially start, you start out in one way and you kind of develop better skills. Now you develop better skills in part due to critics. But I have to say, woke up. How do I start this? How do we start talking about this? How do we veer from the jolliness and the happiness and joy, the freedom and the fun of Cyberfrog to what's actually going on in mainstream comics right now? That's not an easy transition to make. Let's see. Well, I'll start off this way. I saw a video a couple days ago by your boy Zach, Diversity in Comics. And this video was all about Dan Panosian. And Dan Panosian, turn this off here. It's too much light. Dan Panosian is one of the best artists working right now. And he's kind of flying. I think he kind of flies beneath the radar a little bit. He started off as one of Rob Liefeld's guys in the 90s. I remember seeing him on Prophet, and he always had this pretty cool brush stroke kind of line. He's fun. His stuff has been fun to watch develop. And right now, I mean, he is drawing. He looks like I don't know. He looks like Will Eisner. I mean, his drawing style is really, really fun. Big fat brush lines, wonderful acting on his characters. Um, it's just a lot of fun to look at. He's become an incredible, incredible artist, and I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. I don't think people. I mean, was he? He might have been nominated for an Eisner. He might have won one, but even still, I wish like Dan Panosian would do a book for Marvel or DC, and then kind of get the credit he deserves. I mean, he's really good. So Dan Panosian. Let me just preface this whole story by saying this, because I think this might be the problem. The comic book industry has been overtaken um, by a group of gossipy, dangerous SJWs who circle the margins, and they basically talk to each other on social media. They are social justice warriors, which means they're far left-wing extremists who largely base their politics and their goals on this sort of idea of this pyramid, this hierarchy of victimization, and they want to make changes in society to sort of fix some of the people who have been marginalized by the way things work, by the system. And they do it in some I would call them like they're the Antifa of society. Antifa, I think they're social justice warriors, and I think these people are just Antifa without masks. They are dangerous. They're addicted to destroying people. And I think that's the way Zach put it. They love the idea of being able to pick a target, isolate them, freeze that target, point the finger at them and say, this person is behaving in a way that is counter to the narrative. This person has committed some kind of SJW cardinal sin, like criticizing or not respecting women, or they did something that was racist or something that was homophobic. This is all their perception. Rarely is it truly the case. And therefore, they go in on them. They isolate them. They say, look, they basically say, we're going to attack this one person. And if you come to this person's defense, look out, because we're going to get you too. And then they swarm and they dogpile and they bully and they really drag people down to their lowest. And they try to extract an apology. And once they extract that apology, then they just go in even harder. I mean, the apology is an admission of guilt. And it is awful. I mean, they drive people to feelings of depression and suicide and all of these things. And then, of course, there's something about this whole process that dehumanizes people. They're able to dehumanize their targets to a point that opens them up to violence potentially. And we've seen it happen a couple of times recently, in which guys like Edwin Boyette and Peter Samiti have been swatted. I mean, they actually, the SJWs have so successfully dehumanized these two very, very nice people that it seems like it's okay to actually try to kill them, which is what swatting is. Swatting is when you call the police, you make a 911 emergency call pretending to be a certain person. You give them your address. You tell them that you mean someone harm, or you've already killed someone and you have a knife or a gun. And the cops better come to this address to fix the problem. And the police come often with guns drawn, and depending on how the situation goes, because the victim of this is not expecting this kind of thing to happen to them. You could, the police, the SWAT team, in an effort to protect themselves, might actually pull the trigger and kill someone. I mean, it's already happened before. In one instance recently, somebody's family pet, their dog, was killed with a flashbang grenade, all in a swatting attempt. This is attempted murder. This is a crime. And this is basically what these tactics open people up to. And SJWs will kind of be like, plausible deniability. We didn't kill this person. We didn't cause this person harm. We didn't directly cause for this person to be hurt. No, not directly, but you did kind of signal to a group of crazy people, and SJWs are crazy people, that this person might deserve to be hurt. So yeah, so that is the situation here. So anyway, Dan Panosian, a couple of other guys, got on YouTube and decided that they're going to do a YouTube show. Now, Dan Panosian and Dave Johnson, Jeff Johnson are anything but ComicsGate. Let me make that clear. I mean, these guys are not ComicsGate. To be ComicsGate means that you are basically, doing this to SJWs, and you're willing to take whatever comes your way. Because of that, we're just not going to fall in line with their narrative. We are going to fight back against SJWs. Not a lot of people are willing to do that, because I think right now at this point in time, fighting back against SJWs, they have such control and people are so afraid of them. That fighting back at this dangerous cult of weirdos can actually cost you your job. It can cost you your livelihood, and it will definitely lead to harassment. You are going to be harassed. You're going to be accused of being a harasser. You're going to be called a racist, a Nazi, a bigot, a sexist. You're going to be called any number of names, and you've got to be prepared to deal with that. Now, a lot of people are not prepared to deal with that, don't want the trouble. They don't want to lose the friends. They don't want to become toxic to the, you get called toxic, which means you can't coexist with these people. I mean, they shun you. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. And so even though they might kind of agree with what we say and what we stand for, and they experience it themselves, they'll never declare themselves ComicsGate, and they shouldn't. My God, I always tell people who come to me like, I'm right on the verge of being ComicsGate. It's like, consider it. I mean, consider where you are. Consider what the consequences of that will be. For some people, I can just tell they're ComicsGate, and they do need to jump over the fence here because they feel it so strongly. But for a lot of people, I'm just like, I would wait. Let us keep clearing the field. Let us keep blazing the trail. Let us try to make it safe for more people to just come out against these monsters and be able to fight back. That would be nice. I mean, that's ultimately what we're hoping to do. So Dan Panosian, Jeff Johnson, Dave Johnson started a show called Drink and Draw on YouTube. They're basically trying to do what we're doing. I think they're trying to get some attention and, entertain fans, get themselves out there, get known a little bit more. I love that. I think that's the exact right thing to do. I think you got to do that. You at this point, there's nobody promoting comic book artists, comic book creators, except for ourselves. So if you have a project and you want it to do better, you want to, interact with your fan base a little bit more, that is the way to do it. You've got to be on YouTube. So these guys see what we're doing, they see our success, and they decide we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start from the ground up with our YouTube channel that has 100 subscribers, and we're going to build on it. We're going to provide a good show, and they did it. I went and I visited. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun show, and I commented on it later. Now, other people came in there and swarmed it and caused trouble. Nasser, but in any case, the reaction to it on Twitter the next day was for Dan Panosian to basically say publicly, and when he said this, I was like, uh-oh. Dan Panosian just kind of said, Ethan, you behaved yourself professionally, but maybe people need to take a lesson from you, and whatever it was. He wasn't nice to me, but he was nicer to me than he should have been if he wasn't looking for trouble. You have to understand, if you are in comics, you need to treat me like a leper. You can't be nice to me. You're not allowed to. I'm a monster. I am the living embodiment of anti-SJW. You have to say awful things about me. Oh, Ethan, he's Hitler. He's worse than Hitler. You need to say those things, and you need to say them early and often if you want to have a career in comics. Dan is a real human being, and Dan is just not able to do that. So, Dan was actually himself. And I think, and I could be wrong, and this could just be my ego, could very well be, but I do think that what Dan went through a couple days ago was because of that. And I've seen it happen before. I've seen people sort of get, tagged and get attacked and get dogpiled just for signaling, just a slight signal that they might kind of be cool with ComicsGate. We've seen it happen to a few people. Well, we saw it happen to Peter Samiti for one. But I don't want to name names, but we've seen it happen with other pros who have just not directly come out and condemned ComicsGate, and they are quickly driven to condemn ComicsGate in the harshest terms possible. I mean, they have to do that. They'll come out and be like, yeah, fuck ComicsGate. Just don't dogpile me. I'm anti-ComicsGate, which is understandable. Again, all this stuff is understandable, but Dan isn't that guy. I mean, I think Dan Panosian, there are a couple of guys in this business that are just like, look, I'm not going to go out there and I'm not going to bend the knee for anyone, for any of these weirdos. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to be kind of honest. And if I think ComicsGate, is this, if I think it's that, I'm going to say so, but I'm not going to say it just to signal it. So Dan was actually kind of a decent human being. And the response to that was SJW's kind of started to pick on him. And this is the video that Zach made the other day, which I think you should watch. Zach is so much more eloquent than me. I mean, I am one of the most eloquent human beings on the face of the earth, but Zach has a way about him, and Zach is very patient. I'm far more angry about this stuff than I think even he is. And he is, Zach, of course, is angry at these SJWs. I'm a little bit angrier than him. And so I don't necessarily have the patience to go through this properly and give it the same kind of careful consideration. To me, it's all bullshit. It's just bullshit. I have no tolerance, no patience for any of this. Yeah, exactly, Backgoat. I am more eloquenter. I'm more eloquenter than most. But Zach is also very eloquent. All right, so let me take a look at this. So here's what happened. A critic, a kind of rather, well, I mean, look, I can tell you're an SJW if you've got me blocked on Twitter. That's the thing. If you have me blocked and I don't know who you are, you're probably an SJW. And this is an SJW right here. This is Claire Napier. Hold on, let me get a drink. So shortly after, Dan Panosian's well-received, pretty good premiere, Drink and Draw. This shows up. Claire Napier says, I don't think Panosian's cover sells today's female Furies well. This is an awful comic book. I mean, I'm sorry it is. It's terrible. It is absolutely awful. All right. The issue itself, for example, does not focus at all on Lashina's cooch strap. So this is sarcasm. The issue itself, for example, does not focus at all on Lashina's cooch strap, but she's saying that the issue, the cover does. She says, why be this foolish? I just don't know. I just don't get it. The comic is good. This is mining below it. So what she's saying is that all of these gorgeous women here that Dan has drawn, Dan has shown preference to the crotch of this character right here. If you can see my mouse. All right. So you've got, God, this book is terrible too. Female Furies is bad. So, by the way, look at how good Dan is. When I said that he is kind of a Will Eisner, I like the way his characters act. I like the kind of fluidity of the way he has these characters postured, the way they're, overacting, their response. He's a really good artist. This critic, Claire Napier, is claiming that the lines all lead down right here to her crotch area, to this character's crotch area. But that isn't true. Really, what's happening here, and Zach points this out very well. I was impressed with Zach's understanding of layout and design, and he was able to just say, "Look, do you understand? Like, this is the way the cover." Let me see if I blow this up. This is the way the cover is actually working. It's making a V shape right here. You see, okay? It's making a V shape. Her line of sight is looking here. Her line of sight is looking here. And she is actually adding to the line that just goes straight down here. Okay, so it's a V shape. This is a classic cover design. And of course, all of the hands, everything is pointing straight towards her face, as you can see. I mean, ignore these stupid lines that Claire Napier drew. They are inaccurate. I think she only did it to make an anarchy symbol here. Anarchy. Yeah. Everything obviously is pointed directly at this woman's face. I wouldn't even my eye line doesn't go to her crotch, her cooch strap, as Claire calls it. I think that's some projection. Everything points to her face. That is exactly, I defy you. In fact, I defy you to look at this cover and not immediately just watch where your eyes go. Just look at this cover and just watch where your eyes go. They go straight to her face. That is an excellent, excellent design. They go straight to her face. And that's just because everything is pointing. Everything is leading your eye right there. It's just an explosion right here. All right, so she's wrong. All right, that's just that's the way it is. I think she's saying that this one finger might be pointing to her crotch. She got two fingers here, but overall, no, everything is pointing right to her face. All right, straight to the uni boob. All right, so 2 retweets, 28 likes. It's like you get anyone to like anything. I love it. So now here's the thing that Dan does what every comic pro does. People don't like this, and I've always been surprised. People say, "Hey, you vanity search yourself. Why do you vanity search yourself?" I think that people who might not be getting enough attention do vanity search themselves. In fact, up until last year, I vanity searched myself every day. That's when you just go right into here and you search Ethan Van Sciver and you pull up all of the tweets from the last, I don't know, couple days or so, a week, that were not directly tagged, with you in it. So they've got your name, but they didn't tag you. So ordinarily you wouldn't find them. And as you can see, Claire did not tag Dan Panosian. She just wanted to criticize his cover. She wasn't looking to actually interact with Dan Panosian himself. What she wanted to do was take a shot at Dan Panosian. SJWs mostly do not tag you. It's kind of, I think nowadays, when it comes to me, first of all, I don't vanity search myself at all anymore. I just assume everyone's talking about me all the time, and I'm right. I have no time to read all the stuff that people say about me. No time. But for the most part, other people do have time because it's not that much. So Dan vanity searches himself. He wants to find out what people are saying, probably because Dan's got a book coming out, or a book that just came out, and wants to see if people are saying anything nice about his cover. Lo and behold, at least Claire Napier is not saying anything nice about Dan's cover. So Dan vanity searches himself and he responds. He's like, it's all a matter of perspective and how you wish to view the world, I suppose. And he actually does this little drawing here. He's showing that everyone, everything is pointing right here to her face. And he is 100% correct. This is just a basic design. This isn't even tough. And again, even as I look at this cover, my eye wanders around. I immediately start here, and then I look up at Barda, and I look at these two faces, and then I pull back a little bit and look at the hands, just in order of where my eyes go. And if I wanted to, I could force myself to look at the cooch strap. It's not something I particularly want to do. It's not necessarily attractive in any way, but it really does take some doing to get my eye to look there. Just because that's just not the design of the cover. I mean, a good cover actually manipulates and trains your eye. You can't deny it. That's just what a good cover does. It grabs a hold of your eyeball and it forces you to look down here, forces you to look where you need to look. And Dan is no dummy. I mean, Dan's been doing this for a while. Dan knows how to compose a cover. All right, so he's showing her. He's saying, no, you're wrong. And Claire Napier comes back. She says, yes, I made the choice. I want to look at the art and see the cooch strap. Oh, this is more sarcasm. This is more. She said, okay, let me try this again. Yes. Should I do a soy voice for this? I don't know. I don't have a crazy far left wing female voice, really. It doesn't matter. They all sound the same. All SJWs sound the same. Yes, I made the choice. I want to look at the art and see the cooch strap. Here's Claire, by the way. If you click on her, that's what she looks like. That is all me. Well done for making a good, respectful cover, which I have ruined by seeing wrong. God, it's insufferable. It's absolutely unbearable. It's absolutely unbearable. At some point, the comic industry has to wake up. I mean, there are people who are absolutely crazy, who are making everything unpleasant. I mean, they're wrong about everything. If Claire was right, then that would be one thing. But she's wrong about it, and she can't just say, "Oh yeah, I see what you mean." That's not what SJWs do. SJWs double down. They always double down. They can't just go, "Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I got it. My bad. My bad." They've got to double down, and they will never, ever, ever let it go. They'll never let it go. It's going to be sarcasm until, it's just agony. It's agony. These people are agonizing. Why? Why do they enjoy each other's company? I don't think they do. Zach always says that SJWs don't have friends. They have allies. How could you be friends with a person like this? How could you possibly be friends with a person who behaves like this? It is absolutely insane. Oh, by the way, we got 1,245 people watching this morning. It's not even this morning. It's now noon. It's now noon. All right. So it's not the morning show anymore, at least not on the East Coast. I don't know how you can be friends with this person. I don't know how you put up with it. So Dan actually responds, and Dan is like piqued by this, I think. I don't want to enter Dan's head. I don't know. I can't guess what Dan, I mean, I can guess. Dan says, all I know is my artistic focal point is on the center character. Sorry you were offended. I'll try harder next time? Question mark. In other words, I'll try harder to... what you? It's like you did nothing wrong. You turned in a perfect cover. I'll try harder to not confuse you, I guess. I don't know. Dan, I wonder if you've been reading the book you did this cover for, just like a thought that occurs to me thematically. What's wrong with this cover? What about this cover does not explain away? By the way, the other thing about it is that the editors are kind of involved in making these covers. They do kind of send you, and I don't know if this happened here, but it might have. The editors will oftentimes throw you a stick figure of what they want the cover to be. And then it's just your job to kind of draw the cover. They've done that to me a couple of times. You think of Green Lantern Rebirth number 4. No, number 3. No, number 4 was a stick figure drawing by Peter Tomasi. Throw you a little stick figure drawing and say, draw this. So look, this was the cover that was requested, Claire. So probably that is the case. Probably that's what happened. Claire goes, I see. Jesus Christ. Cecil was quite happy with it. Not our Cecil. Probably the editor. And Claire Napier says, I'm very happy that you're telling me this. It absolutely wipes away my own observations. I shall be good now and say nothing ever in case I am proven wrong. Capital P, capital W. More sarcasm. At this point, you can't just back away. You're an SJW. You can't just say, you know what? Okay. Dan, I think it was a good coverage. It just wasn't to my taste. You could have said that and backed away. No. It's like layer of sarcasm after layer of sarcasm after doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, being extremely disrespectful to a seasoned, professional, skilled artist who knows what he's talking about. Somebody who has been in this business, in this game for 30 years. I think Dan's been at this longer than me. 30 years. And you're choosing, instead of just listening to him and seeing what you can get from him, you're choosing to double, triple, quadruple. You're choosing to be obstinate and childish and ridiculous and sarcastic and give this guy a bad time. Now, why would you be giving him this kind of a bad time? Dan Panosian, of all people. Dan's the most normal normie on the face of the earth. Dan expresses no political views that I've ever seen. Dan just kind of does his stuff. He's a skilled, seasoned artist who produces good work that people are pleased with and oftentimes very, very, very impressed with. He showed me a Red Sonja piece. He's got a Red Sonja. He didn't show me, but he's got a Red Sonja piece up on his page that I saw. Absolutely amazing. Just fucking amazing. I looked at it and went, whoa, this is next level. Like she's walking into a tavern and the camera angle is from above and you just see all of this crazy stuff around it. It looks like something Bernie Wrightson would have done for Frankenstein. It's amazing. Dan knows what he's doing. He deserves a little bit of respect from Claire Napier. A little bit. And again, you know, it's not like he's ComicsGate. He's just a regular dude. He goes, I'm just defending my artistic choices, hopefully informing of my intentions. You're obviously free to interpret anything however you choose, but at least now you know where I was coming from. And by the way, this is a factual situation. This isn't about interpreting anything. This is factually correct. These are facts. Facts don't care about your feelings. The eye lines lead you straight to this. This is traditionally the way comic art is put together. Nothing leads to... She is not looking at her crotch. She is not excited about her crotch. She is not looking down at her own crotch, and she is not doing anything. I think her forearm is bumping up against. That's about it. We got one finger here out of 100 different elements. You are free to interpret things however you want. You're free to be wrong, and you are. You are free to be wrong. Claire Napier. It's really cool how you're totally uninterested in my artistic evaluation, but pretty darn keen on me acknowledging yours. Oh, you're not on the same level, Claire, to be fair. Claire, to be fair, you're not on the same level. I know you think that you are, and that is the mistake of SJWs. You are not on the same artistic level as Dan Panosian. You are here to learn from him. You are not here to educate him or to question him. Not really. Not in this, especially not in this instance, as he's sitting there utterly annihilating everything, utterly annihilating your artistic quote unquote evaluation quote unquote. And Dan, again, Dan's patient. I would like to. I wish I could psychically tell Dan, walk away from this crazy person. All right, just walk away. She's doing this to get you to act nuts. She's trying to get under your skin. She is incapable of admitting that she was wrong because she's an SJW. Do you know what SJWs are, Dan? Let me explain what SJWs are. They're mentally ill, far leftist extremists who are basically rabble rousers. They're here to persecute you. They are addicted to destroying people. And your boy Zach is no longer on Twitter. Your boy Zach is no longer on Twitter, and that is why they've had to turn their attention elsewhere. They're trying to find anyone that they can actually. They need a head. They need to decapitate. They need a scalp, and they've chosen you because you were polite to me, publicly. Just polite. So that's why this is happening. He says, it's interesting enough that I provided my perspective on the topic. It's not a personal attack, but your responses seem to insinuate that you're offended that I would bother to explain my intentions. I'm sorry you disliked it so much. Peace. You can't. Peace means goodbye. Peace be upon you. Peace be upon you and Muhammad. I don't, I see you. I hope everything goes well for you. No. This is, again, just, it's strange how you're acting this way. I didn't mean to bother you. I just meant to explain my art to you and that I'm not some coochie freak. I intended for people's eye line or their focus to be on the pain of the central character, not on a vagina. And I don't know why you're offended by this. She says, what do you think about my perspective? What do you think is incorrect about the eye lines I have drawn on your cover? Well, it's one way of looking at it, certainly. Personally, I feel the lines I drew incorporate character sight lines as well. But it's all in the eyes of the beholder. I get that. I just wanted to let you know I wasn't intentionally doing something like that. Yes, he's mansplaining Mars 10. That's right. This is Dan's mistake. He's mansplaining his own artwork to a woman who knows better. Claire Napier says, if they incorporate sight lines, quote, as well, then you're getting my gist. That the cooch strap. Why is this happening? Oh my God, get me away from these people. They're fighting over a dying industry. The industry is dying. It's dead. It's already dead. Like this comic book probably sold 15,000 copies. There's no money in this. There's no money in comics, and they're fighting like this. Oh, it's so stupid. The coach strap is also a subject of compositional focus. Yeah? It's a little British there. You end with yeah? The thing I'd like to say, since you're here, is this implying that, is this anti-Semitic when you put things like this or no? I don't know if this is anti-Semitic. Is look out for that. Look out for that in the future. Avoid it. All right. Dan says, interesting way to describe a costume aspect I didn't design. Cooch strap, but okay. You need a cooch strap. You do need a cooch strap so you can carry it with you, I guess. What do you need? What is a cooch strap? So you can kind of sling it over your shoulder, you know, walk through the city. Cooch strap. But okay, I'll try to be more aware of composition choices. Oh, here we go. Here comes ultra sarcasm. Ultra. Oh my goodness. Gosh, you didn't design it. I know this. Did you draw it? Yes. Did you arrange it on the page? Yes. You have the responsibility for how you present the elements you are hired to present. I'm saying, have you considered this aspect of presentation? You're saying, definitely not. And that's a good thing. My friend, oh, it's not your friend. If he could have been your friend, but he's not now, probably. My friend, it is not a good thing. It's a lapse. It doesn't sell the comic well. And then this whole thing. By the way, I started to use this emoji because it's really annoying, and SJWs use it. The shrugging man. Whenever you're talking to an SJW now, always adopt their irritating things. When you're talking to SJWs, adopt their irritances. Their, you know, and this shrugging is, well, you know, at the end of their tirades. So I do it too. I have a shrugging man, and then I put a frog and then a gay rainbow. And that says everything. That says everything. It says, I don't give a shit, frog, and gay rights now. That's all. Yeah. Never Cold's got it. Everybody, if you've got, can the chat just give me a little shrugging? Let's give a little shrugging emojis in the chat. Everybody just give it up. Like everybody just go, together. I just want to see that chat filled with shrugs right now. Jeremy wants, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, he wants arm muscles. He wants like the flex. He wants the flex emojis. I don't want that. I just want Atlas shrugged. I want a bunch of shrugs. I want my chat always filled with shrugs instead of flexing. That's going to be the new Comic Artist Pro Secrets thing. Everybody just shrug together. Well, I don't know. Thank you, chat. And the chat is on there. The chat is filled with shrugs right now. A lot of people pulling a John Galt, just shrugging. Just shrug it off. Meh. Yeah, Jim Bobo, thank you. He's got the shrug, the frog, and the gay rainbow. All those things belong together. Somebody put a flex and a shrug. I don't know how those two things go together. That's like a power shrug. Dan Hansen has an extra annoying shrug there. That's the hand-drawn shrug. God, it's so annoying. So annoying. All right. Let's go on with this. And by the way, this gets worse. This descends into threats and violence, and you're going to see that in a little bit. Andrea was like, Andrea read this story, and she was like, what are you going to do? You're going to do a video? I was like, I have to live stream this. This is too epic. It's too epic. So Dan goes, typically artists out of respect don't go online and critique the work of others in the same field. That's why I don't do it. By the way, everyone says, when are you going to start critiquing comic books? I can't. Like, I'm just kind of like not really allowed to. You're not allowed to do that. You don't get to do that. Like, you don't get to critique other artists' work because it's just, even if you don't have any respect for them, it's still disrespectful. You just don't do it. All right, so I took a long look at your work. Ooh, Dan. This is when Dan gets salty. Dan, this is like the finishing move. By the way, when you're criticizing, when some of these SJW critics, thank you, the chat is full of shrugs. I love it. I love it. When some of these SJW critics are coming after actual pros, at any point, you know, if we actually decide to let go of grace, to abandon grace, we could cut their heads off. We can cut their heads off at any moment. We actually do this for a living. We're actually good at this. We've spent our lives, developing this skill, this craft, and we've sold millions and millions and millions of comics, created characters that people love, that people are excited by. These people have created nothing. Claire Napier has created nothing in her life. Nothing. And her art sucks. And so Dan Panosian just goes, you know what? I've toyed with you enough. I've offered you more respect. I have offered you more respect than you could possibly deserve. I have given you respect. I have received no respect in return. And that's an important transaction. Respect for respect. If you respect me, I will give you respect in return. But that's not what SJWs do. SJWs are not, she's not out to have some, she's not out to meet Dan Panosian. Not even, she won't even accept meeting Dan Panosian on a level playing field, on equal ground, eye to eye. No, Claire Napier is here to basically look down on Dan and teach Dan a little something, something. Claire Napier is here to humiliate Dan and to explain to Dan that he is some dude who's obsessed with cooch straps, and that his covers draw the eye to vaginas rather than where they're appropriately meant to go. And that's, she wants to just break him down. That is her entire point. Her point, she is incapable of actually speaking to Dan Panosian without attempting to belittle and humiliate him. That is her whole thing. Her whole entire thing is, I have to speak down to you because I'm an SJW and I know no other way. I didn't learn from The Daily Show how to speak to you like you're a human being who deserves respect. I didn't learn from Stephen Colbert how to face you and offer you respect while still asserting that I am a human being who's deserving of respect as well. And I did not learn from any of these wacky, crazy people that I watch on Comedy Central or on The Daily Show. I didn't learn from Jon Stewart how to humbly admit when I'm wrong, how to learn something from another person. No, all I learned was sarcasm. I learned snark. I learned how to double down. I learned how to be rude. And I learned how to make you the target of ridicule. That's all I learned. So I don't know how to, I'm a broken human being who really doesn't understand how to deal with the respect, although the stern kind of like, you're wrong about this and let me explain why, from Dan. I don't know how to Claire doesn't know how to deal with this. So Dan comes in and basically just cuts her head off. Typically, artists, out of respect, don't go online and critique the work of others in the same field. I took a look at your work, and I might suggest, in quotes, just like she does, in quotes, that you spend a little more time learning to draw and less time criticizing others. Good luck. Boom! A gentleman. That is a gentlemanly decapitation right there. I mean, that is straight out of, that is just, what's that thing that Mark Miller created? Gentleman with the umbrella and that. What is that movie? I forgot. Yeah, well, that is what Dan just did. Dan, like a gentleman, he adjusted his necktie, and he just cut her head right off. And we'll see why in a second. And then here comes Jude Terror. Now, here's the thing about this. I'm waiting for somebody in the chat to tell me what that is, just for my information. The chat is behind. The chat is way behind. We're 2 minutes behind. Thank you, everyone. Now, here's the thing. It is my opinion. It is my feeling. It is my suspicion that SJWs probably were watching this happen. They were picking a fight with Dan Panosian for a reason. They chose Claire to do it. And while this was going on, other SJWs were watching and cheering it on. They're looking forward to this. That, yeah, let's destroy Dan Panosian today. Let's Kingsman. Thank you, Kingsman. Yes, very elegant. It's Kingsman. And so Jude Terror, who is, Jude Terror is someone that he's an SJW. I've spoken to him. Jude Terror is capable of having conversations. We've spoken in private. And Jude Terror early on explained to me why Aubrey Sitterson's G.I. Joe was a big thing. And he actually just opened my eyes to it. He said, Ethan, it's the culture war. He's like, it's the culture war. They've captured G.I. Joe. We have captured G.I. Joe. Aubrey Sitterson is a socialist. He's doing a book about a real American hero. Oh, wow. Thank you, Zoivod. $50 Canadian says, SJWs twist the concept of intent, purposely disregarding your reason for saying or doing something in the return for their own notion of what they already think of you. Once labeled a Nazi, your good intentions will be twisted to suit their ideology. Zoivod, well spoken, and thank you for the super chat. That is correct. So Jude Terror actually opened my eyes to this. He's the first one who actually took a cartoonish notion, a social, like the idea of a culture war was something that I just saw on Fox News when Bill O'Reilly was saying, they're trying to take Christmas from you. It's the culture war. I was like, what are you, nuts? Jude Terror opened my eyes to this, and I realized that this was something that was very much going on and very much on the forefront of the brain, the frontal, what would you call it? Not a frontal lobotomy. That's when you go in and drill out your skull. I don't know. But in any case, it is on the forefront of their thoughts every day. They're thinking about the culture war. They're thinking about what flag they can capture next. And when Aubrey Sitterson was getting hell from Diversity in Comics, and when he was fired for his stupid comments about 9/11, his awful G.I. Joe comics, frontal lobe, thank you. When he got fired, it was a big deal, and they fought back. And we were saying, why? Why are you fighting back? This guy just said, fuck you to people who were mourning 9/11. Why would you be fighting for him to keep his job on G.I. Joe? And Jude Terror told me in private, he said, it's because of the culture war, Ethan. He's like, this is a defeat for us. I was like, oh, okay. So Jude Terror's watching this, and he comes in and says, I thought your X-Men comic was quite good, Claire. I don't recall being distracted by any crotch straps, even though in a work referencing Claremont's X-Men, it would have been appropriate in that case. So here come the SJWs to defend Claire. Thank you, Jude. Ha, ha, ha. This is Claire's artwork. Wait. Okay. Offered up by another SJW. This is Claire's artwork. This is what she's doing. SJWs have zero talent. They have zero talent. By the way, everything's snarky and sarcastic too. Like, these are like planets. This is space here. This is a space ship, and this is a space heroine. Isn't she silly and goofy? Like, nothing serious, nothing sincere, nothing's a real attempt at anything. This isn't a real attempt at doing a sci-fi thing. This is just kind of like, it's like, well, if you don't like it, if it sucks, it's because I meant for it to suck. Like I'm, look, I'm making fun of this whole thing. Like, this is the way SJWs are. They can't really make an attempt at anything because they fear criticism. They fear receiving criticism. They're terrified of it. They know they don't have any talent. They seethe with ambition, and they seethe with envy and anger. They seethe with hatred. And this person is going to take all of this out. I mean, this ridiculous person is going to take out all of her rage on Dan Panosian. She went online and she accused him of making a comic book cover that was focused on a crotch, and he defended himself and said, no, that's not what it was. And then she picked a fight with him. She couldn't just say, my mistake, as the guy was defending his reputation. Nobody wants to be called somebody who focuses things on crotches. Except for me. I kind of do. I never tried that, though. I never really tried to bring the focus to crotch, except when I'm on Mike S. Miller's live streams. Then I bring Mike's focus to crotches pretty quickly. And it's something that I do for hours at a time. All right. So in any case, now we've got, look at this. This is when the fight starts. We got a fight. We got a fight happening here. All right. Okay, let me stop sharing for a minute and take a break. Say hi to you guys, and we'll read some super chats, and then we're going to move on to part 2 of this. Now, I got alerted to this morning in a text message from another professional who said, "Look at what's going on here. You know, look at what's going on here. Like everything that you say is correct." And people are going to learn a lesson. I mean, this is the thing. Like these same people who, uh, were afraid, to stick up for others, like me, who were being called a Nazi, who were having their reputations. I mean, you call me a Nazi, it opens me up to violence. Hey, you might not like my politics or my beliefs, but do you really want me to get hurt? You want to see me shot at a comic convention? Is that what you want? Or do you want to actually stand up and say, hey, some things are too far? We don't have Nazis in comics. We don't have Nazis in comics. Let me read some super chats. Sometimes Pop says, oh shit, what SJW crap happened now? We're going over it. TLJ Screwjob says, because of MCU goodwill, most YouTube critics say meh. Yeah, with regards to why Captain Marvel's box office was so good. Yeah, they got a steam, they got a train going. You could do anything. You could do a Squirrel Girl movie right now. JBD says, I had to go and rewatch Mundane Matt's public execution stream to cheer myself up after Captain Marvel. That was a fun. I've watched that 3 times myself. It is fun. Mark C says, Spain 1478, Massachusetts 1692, social media 2019. Can you find the link? Pilgrim Driver says, you have set the meme for the day. Big round boobies. Hashtag big round boobies. Yellow Flash 2 says, MS mainstream comics will die. Let it die to be reborn. Yeah, well, it is, Yellow Flash. We're seeing it happen. And it's pathetic to be squabbling like this over nothing. These people are all terrified every single day. They're terrified of losing their jobs, of getting into fights, of not being invited to. There's no party anymore. When I first broke into comics, there were parties, and you wanted to go to the parties. They were nice. There's no party. There's no big paycheck. I haven't received a royalty check from Marvel in 2 years, which is weird. And their royalty system sucks. But I mean, I would always get $100, from Marvel per year for just like resales of new X-Men. Haven't got one in 2 years. Sales suck. Al M, thanks for $2. Benjamin Henderson says, what do you think Kirby would think of the new Furies? Well, I don't know. I think he would think it's pretty silly. I think he would think that it diminished Darkseid and who he was. And I think Jack Kirby might think that this book was being used to work out a personal, grind. They have a lot of ground axes here rather than actually producing a work that was about the characters that he created. These characters, again, I've said it on Twitter. I get attacked for it all the time, but God damn it, like these characters are not your puppets to work out your own personal problems and your own beliefs. Your own little social axes to grind are not to happen using Darkseid, and at least not this unsubtly. I mean, Darkseid is actually in this book. Darkseid is sexually harassing the women. Darkseid doesn't sexually harass women. Darkseid conquers universes. Darkseid does not sexually harass the ladies. It's weird. I understand that you don't like Trump, but that is weird. Brennan Pitt says, if I were Dan next issue, nothing but coochie straps. See, that is the way to do this. Yeah, double. Like, again, what do we learn from social justice warriors? What we need to learn to do is to do what they do, right back at them. There are too many people who are treating them like human beings, and they're not human beings. They're just not. They don't behave like decent human beings. So people should really just kind of do what they do right back at them. All right, so that's it. Then I'm going to double down. I'm going to triple down. I'll never apologize. We're going to get to that in a second. Never apologize. Double, triple down. Tell them to fuck off. Treat them like subhumans. Treat them stupid. Call them stupid. There's no reason to treat them with any respect. But see, normal people don't behave that way. Like your instinct is to go, Why is this human being so mad? What did I do to make this person mad? That's how nice normal people are. When it comes to SJWs, you need to reprogram yourself. You need to learn. You need to learn to train yourself to treat them differently. It's the only way to get them to stop, to get them to go away. Because once they smell blood, and they do smell blood here, they will never stop. They'll never stop. Timecode Mechanic says, I wish he would have simply said, you're wrong. Well, again, he could have done that if he had realized that she was an SJW. These guys still think, they're like, you imagine these SJWs, Ethan. They're not real. This is a conspiracy theory that you've cooked up. These SJWs that you're obsessed with, they're not real. That's not a thing. You're seeing them happen. They're affecting your life right now. At some point, you're going to have to wake up and go, you know what? Yeah, it's a real thing, and we're going to have to deal with it a certain way. And again, wait to see part 2 of this. This is fantastic. Eggard Snark says, I meant to be a cartoonist, but there was too much think through first, so I became a critic. Actual quote from her site. Her art is terrible, by the way. Thank you, Eggard. That's right. I meant to become a cartoonist. Whoops. So I became a critic. Man, it's not easy. Drawing is not easy. It's painful. Drawing is painful. It's not easy. It can be fun, but it really is a lot of difficult work. And Brian Boland told me that for him it felt like a tightrope walk every time he started a drawing. And I can relate to that. I always feel like I'm underwater when I'm drawing, holding my breath and struggling for the surface. It really is like a stressful thing. You got to be careful. Every line needs to be precise. It needs to mean something. You're drawing from inspiration, and you're hoping that you're going to get something, like something's going to occur to you. That it's not, it isn't easy. It's not an easy thing. It is easy to criticize. It's very easy to criticize. It's fun to criticize. I enjoy it myself. That's why I have this YouTube channel. Criticism is fun. Actually doing something and creating something and building something is not easy. It's not usually fun, but the reward is so great. And then to have some dimwit come along and tell you that her opinion about your work is every bit as valid and it's wrong. Her criticism of your work is wrong, but it's every bit as valid as your professional, your assessment, your intention, and your correct artistic assessment and plan, the structure of your drawing. Everyone demands respect. Everyone demands unearned respect. People Circus says narcissists. They provoke to get emotional reaction. Yeah. Star Wars IG JGG for life says, hi, Uncle Ethan. Have a great day. You too. Afro Black Belt says frontal lobo, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Brianna Fabre says, is that a Brianna Wu drawing? It does resemble her. I must admit. It does resemble her. Jay Sim says, do you think it could be Dan's red pill moment? Yeah. Hold out hope. I mean, listen, it's red pilling other people. And Simon Oliver says, Cooch Artist Pro Secrets, just a humble frog and big round booby merchant. And then a shrug. Thank you so much. Yes, Simon. That is what I aspire to. That's what we all need to aspire to. All right, so let's get back to this. So in any case, this happened. This whole conversation was great. Your boy Zach did a great video about it that I recommend you go see. I think he did it. It might have been yesterday, but I actually kind of reached out to him like, that was perfect. That was perfect. And I think you should watch that as well. Now, there's been further fallout because now there is a fight going on. So stupid. Oh my God. There's a whole conversation going on now. Let me show you this. Oh God. You pick sides. People pick sides. Screen share. And then we work it out. Sometimes. Oh, we got some people. Look, Dan Panosian did nothing wrong. Cooch Strapgate. These are people who are watching the stream right now. Thanks, 8-Bit Elvis. And look at this. Oh, I should hit latest. I think latest would probably be the best. Oh, by the way, Zach called Dan Panosian Baywatch Wolverine, which is, I think, probably the best way to see Dan Panosian. I think that is correct. I think that's pretty much what he looks like. He's a big weightlifter guy, but he he looks like Wolverine, but he's the he's the Baywatch version of Wolverine. Now people are discussing this. Self-proclaimed respectful artist Dan Panosian. Look at this. Just all the shit going on still with Claire's completely reasonable and untagged critique of Dan Panosian. Again, this is their big point. Their point is that Claire was calling Dan Panosian a cooch strap freak, but she didn't tag him in it. Dan actually had to find it, and that is a big deal. They want to say, look, she didn't want to. Well, look, you put stuff out on Twitter, and honestly, I don't name search myself at all anymore. I don't want to know what people are saying. I just assume they're all talking about me and calling me names, so I don't look. But people do occasionally say, hey, look at this, and they'll send me a screenshot of something. So, but Dan actually does say that he was vanity searching himself. So you've got they all look like this, I swear to God. Oh, it's awful. These people are awful. An untagged critique of Dan Panosian. And then Frank Tieri ratcheting up the dick moves with threats of physical violence in support of Panosian. And then all the boys coming out of the woodwork. A mess. All right, so this guy right here is particularly into this. Isn't it such a kooky coincidence that the overwhelming majority of people rushing to defend Frank Tieri's character, and to a lesser extent Dan Panosian, are white dudes who work in comics with a generous side of white guys who are comics fans? Oh my God. Oh, I got to read more of this. I didn't forget the question mark because it isn't really a question. Superhero comics are a breeding ground for toxic white guys on both sides of the equation. Ooh. They're all talking about it. Look, this is all about Dan Panosian. Yeah, this is SJWs eating each other. I think that is correct. Frank Tieri, Matt Santori here, one of the worst SJWs on the face of the earth. This guy is a douchebag's douchebag. So wonderful. Frank Tieri is threatening violence to support Dan Panosian's bullying behavior. DC Comics, come collect your freelancers. He tags DC Comics in. Okay. Now here come the SJWs. She was not saying Dan Panosian is a sexist artist who intentionally made us look at a crotch. She was saying that a cover made by you literally missed the mark thematically and via form, i.e. the sightlines did not actually focus on the cover's presumed focal point. Yeah, and she was wrong, you goofball weirdo with fangs. You creep. Disgusting. Seeing a bunch of white guys. This guy, I don't even know who this guy is. I've never seen him before. I assume he has me blocked. Seeing a bunch of white guys who work in comics circle jerking over what a great guy Dan Panosian is for this behavior, I genuinely don't understand these bozos. I don't only who Dan Panosian is, but I'll make an effort never to buy anything he does. Great way to reach out to readers, buddy. All right, so basically all the SJWs are swarming Dan Panosian right now. Exactly. This is not about Dan Panosian anymore. This is about you engaging in exactly the kind of behavior you decry when your friends receive it. Note to self, move Dan Panosian from the who gives a shit column to the fuck that guy column. You understand how this works? Dan Panosian is receiving the SJW swarm. Dan Panosian is receiving the SJW swarm, and they are canceling him. SJWs call this canceling. They are unpersoning him. They're persecuting him. They're unpersoning him and canceling him. So he will no longer be a thing. When they'll speak about him with venom. Look at this. I've enjoyed the work of Dan Panosian over the last few years. Sad to see he's a name-searching sea lion who will jump in to attack the work of sometime artist who makes untagged negative comments on his own work. Sad to see that Dan Panosian who name searches Dan Panosian. Oh, you living penis. Oh, these people are just terrible. Absolutely awful. If you name search to yell at people for criticizing you, you're an asshole, Dan Panosian. Dan Panosian and everyone who responded to his weird gaslighting with solidarity, retire, bitches. Gotta be kidding me. I gotta see this, dude. No. Can't. Oh, why? Oh, they're the worst people on the face of the earth, man. They are the every time it's a joy. It is a delight, man. It is a delight. All right, let's see. Let's scroll down more. Do we need to? I want to read a little more of these. This is so awful. It's so awful, but it's so fun to watch. For example, this guy's something else here. Damien. Damien is here. Here we have Dan Panosian telling a critic who does hobbyist comics that they can't have an opinion because they can't draw good like him. This motherfucker. That's not what he said, asshole. He said she was wrong. Her opinion was incorrect, and it was factually incorrect. You're allowed to have opinions. You can say, I don't like that cover. I don't like the way it looks. What you can't do is say, it is thematically wrong. You could say that, I guess. What you can't do is say the eye lines lead to the crotch. Let's just put it that way. Let's cut it off right there. The eye lines lead to the crotch. Factually incorrect, which is what she said. Today I learned that Dan Panosian is one of those comic bro knobbers that likes to name search himself and harass critics. Hi, Dan. You're an arsehole. Hey, British, I love you guys. I love the UK. Can you just say asshole? Can we get rid of the arse? Can we get rid of that? I don't like it. There's so much about British slang that I really do like. I don't like arse. Gotta stop that. Arsehole. And the British in the chat are saying no. They won't. No. All right. A couple of people are saying sorry from the UK. No, it's arse. Get over it. I just disagree. But all right. You guys were here before us. So the British were here before the Americans. So and then we have normal people actually talking about Dan's really good artwork. I mean, he's excellent. Look how good Dan is. Dan's fantastic. So in any case, this led to a war. All right, this is just random searching for, like, this is me searching Dan Panosian's name here. But this led to a war, and that war, let's go here. Bleeding Cool. Drawing lines with Frank Tieri in Twitter. Now, Frank Tieri is Frank Tieri is an East Coast guy, man. He is salt of the earth. Frank Tieri, how did he get into comics? He got into comics because he's a writer. He's friends with Joe Quesada, friends with Jimmy Palmiotti, and he really is like most East Coast artists, most East Coast creators. We could have been construction workers or truck drivers, but we ended up being comic book creators. I include myself in that. Frank Tieri is one of those guys, man. I can picture him as a construction worker, but he's a writer, and I like Frank, man. He's fun to hang out with. And Frank is a man. And here's the thing. I mean, most of the guys on the East Coast, when I think about the East Coasters, I will say, man, most of these guys are men. They're not SJWs. I think they mouth platitudes to the, this and that social justice warrior bullshit. But for the most part, these are guys. And by the way, the SJWs are discovering that. And that's what this article is about. Last week, here's Rich Johnson, rabble rouser. This is interesting. Last week, an argument over the interpretation of sightlines on a comic book cover broke out. The kind of things artistic scholars have debated for centuries saw the artist Dan Panosian enter that discussion to defend his work from allegations of sexism. And let's face it, that's what it was. The reason why Dan was so vociferously defending himself was because, the subtle insinuation that what's her name, Claire Napier, was making was that Dan was a sexist who was sexually idealizing or, I don't know, objectifying women. We used to do that all the time, by the way. In the 90s, you got paid to sexually objectify the female form. Most of these guys did. I mean, it's like if you go back to the 1990s during the bad girl craze, that was a whole thing. That's when comics were actually healthy. The female form was exaggerated, was glorified, and sold lots and lots and lots of comics, but we just don't do that anymore. And by the way, people say, well, why not? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm a little edgy about it myself. Like when it was happening, I was like, why are we doing all these crotch shots? It just doesn't seems a little kooky to me. I never really did it. A couple times. I think I worked at Harris Comics, and so, being around Vampirella all the time, I would just think, well, I gotta draw women like, splayed out and stuff, right? I mean, that's not what you do. But yeah, for the most part, no, I was always a little uneasy about it. Dan Panosian's not that guy. He's just not that dude. He's not a girl artist. He's not one of these good girl artists, Cheesecake. That's just not what he is. He can do it, but it's just not what he is. So he is going to defend himself, and he is going to say, "Hey, let me fix this, because if I let you get away with this sightline argument, you're basically calling me a sexist artist, and I can't live with that. I can't coexist with that allegation." Okay, so that's why he fought this so hard. But it was the intervention of his friend and colleague, popular comic book writer Frank Tieri, of the likes of Ziggy Pig, I've never heard of that, Old Lady Harley, and plenty of Deadpool, Wolverine, and Batman that ramped it up a couple of notches. He told Dan, here's Frank Tieri talking to Dan Panosian, Dan, you done absolutely nothing wrong here. You defended your work, and you did so in a professional and respectful manner, like you always do. And for the record, I don't think there's anything wrong with your cover either. That's my Frank Tieri voice. All right. You'll notice it's different from my soy voice. It's different from my soy voice. All right, hang on. Let me have a drink so I can do more of that. Wow. 2,144 people in the chat right now. Thank you. Thank you. Dan Panosian says, thanks, Frank. Everyone is entitled to their opinion always. This guy Simon Boland is a twat. This guy bothers me on Twitter. I think I have him muted. But I think he's a letterer, and he comes in. These Twitter guys, I mean, you realize that, like, there are people who are active on Twitter, and they're just involved in shit. I don't know who this guy is. He's never lettered anything of mine. The fuck are you? Your name's Simon. I guess you're from England. What Frank said, 100%. Okay, we'll see if you stick to that. We move on. And then Mark Oliver Frisch, who used to write occasionally snarky sales analysis columns for The Beat and riled a few people up the wrong way, as a result, started responding. And with a seeming history between them, it got nasty fast. Mark Oliver Frisch. Why, it must be Shitheel Thursday at Team Comics Central. All right, so we know where Mark Oliver is. Now, what's interesting is that Mark Oliver is a critic, okay? And these people are all creators. So the creators are sticking together. So far, just white male creators seem to be sticking together. And then over here, we've got Mark Oliver Frisch, who is a critic, who seems to be calling anyone who who is not kneeling at this point, to what's her name? I already forgot her name. Shit. I gotta keep these names in my head. To what's her name? Somebody's gonna tell me in the chat. Do I need to look again? I scroll down, I'll see it. Oh, Claire Napier. Okay. Mark Oliver Frisch is basically demanding that you kneel to Claire Napier, who is wrong, by the way. She was wrong. So, I mean, let's just get that fact out there. Claire Napier's criticism was wrong. It was factually wrong. It wasn't a matter of opinion. Her opinion is that she didn't like the cover. That's fair. But the reason why she said she didn't like the cover, it was fucking factually wrong. There's no question about that. So let's just get that out of the way right now. Mark Oliver Frisch is now siding with Claire because she's a woman, essentially, one would think. And she was wrong. I mean, even though she was wrong, he's still going to side with Claire, even though she was fucking factually incorrect about her assessment of Dan Panosian's cover. Wrong. She's wrong. So these guys are saying, hey, you were polite to her. You did nothing wrong. Mark Oliver Frisch comes in. Why, it must be Shitheel Thursday at Team Comic Central. This word here, shit, when describing a human being, shitty, shitheel. This is an SJWism. Again, this is meant to dehumanize you. It's a disgusting, vulgar word, but SJWs are effeminate and vulgar at the same time. Effeminate vulgarians. It's the worst combination. You know, it used to be guys like Frank Tieri, you know, like trucker guys, you know, like construction worker dudes like Frank Tieri, men's men, who'd be like, fuck this, fuck that. Like, that's not Frank Tieri. That's Mark Oliver Fresh. It must be Shitheel Thursday. That's a weird societal change. No, not arse heel. God, I don't like arse. I just don't like it. Ass is better. It isn't. The worst is when Americans use the word arse. I can't take that. Arse from an American. Dr. Fantastic gives me a shrug. All right. Mark goes on. This, by the way, is the tweet by Mr. Tieri's professional and respectful peer who vanity searched for his name and, little did he know, ended up finding some criticism on one of his drawings. Now, this is Dan dismissing Claire. Now, if Dan were an SJW, people would be like, damn, girl, you tell, yes, queen, slay, 2 snaps, owned, pwned. But no, Dan was actually criticizing an SJW, and he did it politely and elegantly, but he also put her in her place. My philosophy is stay humble, but let these bitches know. And Dan Panosian, finally, after trying and failing at reaching another human being through decency and respect, finally let these bitches know. Typically, artists out of respect don't go online and critique the work of others in the same field. I took a look at your work, and I might suggest, in quotes, you spend more time learning to draw and less time criticizing others. Good luck. Well, that is Daddy's belt. That is Daddy's belt right there. Yeah. And nothing wrong with that, by the way, Mark. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Now, look, he initially, he did. He vanity searched for his name. We all know that's just awful. That's awful. People should be allowed to shit talk you, and no response. They didn't tag you in it, so what the hell? They're allowed to bash you behind your back and call you a sexist. And if you find out about it and respond, what the hell are you doing? That's just none of your business. Yeah, this couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been nicer. Suddenly Frank Tieri shows up. Oh wait, did we miss some? Oh, okay. So yeah, so Frank Tieri responds to Mark Allen Frisch. Hey, I'll happily find out how to tell you to go fuck yourself in German if that'll make you feel better. Frank Tieri. Hey, I'll happily find out how to tell you to go fuck yourself in German if that'll make you feel better. If that'll make you feel better. Frank Tieri, 7th of March, 2019. A date that will live in infamy. All right, so Frank, you just victimized a dude. Frank, you just victimized an effeminate German man. Now what's going to happen? By the way, Frank, do you notice how I say whatever the hell I want to say and don't care? There's a certain freedom in just accepting that these people hate you and will never stop hating you, and it doesn't matter. And once you realize that these SJWs hate you, will never stop hating you, and you don't really like them either, so why play their game? You can say whatever you want to say to them. And what are they going to do? They're going to hate you harder? It's kind of nice, Frank. ComicsGate is freedom. It's kind of nice. Suggestion. Or you can continue to crawl to these people. You can continue to crawl to these people who harass you, who degrade you, who don't understand your work, who marginalize. They marginalize you. You can do all that if you'd like. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much. This is the thing. I talk to these people. I'm like, how much money are you making in comics right now? Like, you've sold your dignity. You've sold your right to tell dickheads like this to go fuck yourself. You've sold that right. How much did you get for it? How much money are you extracting from this comic book industry, such as it is right now? Millions? How much is your spine worth? How much is it worth to you to not be able to tell these people who so richly deserve to be told to go fuck themselves? How much is it worth it to you to sit around and wait and maybe get to write a Harley Quinn backup story? That's what you want out of your life? That's what you okay. All right. As this industry shrinks and contracts, and as the work that you receive and the payment that you get, the money that you pull from this industry to make your life more comfortable becomes less and less and less. And as the cost, the price for your pride and your ability to stand up for yourself gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And the cost is that your self-esteem and your manhood is something that you can no longer even, you can't even, it doesn't really exist anymore because you bowed and scraped and apologized to social justice warriors for so long. How much money did you get for that? How much money did you get for that? This is priceless. Right here, to be able to say, go fuck yourself. By the way, in German. Do we have any Germans here who can tell me how to say go fuck yourself in German? We might. We got a lot of German fans. All right. 2,197 people watching right now, listening to what I'm saying. Now, Frank Tieri, who is a man's man, there's no doubt about it. Frank Tieri is a man's man, and what he believes in is loyalty to his friends. What do I say over and over again? What is the atom? What is the thing that makes a man? To me, what makes a man, besides testicles and a penis, is loyalty to your friends. Loyalty to your friends is what makes a man. You can immediately figure out who is a squirming, disgusting little soy boy by somebody who kneels, who yields to pressure, and betrays their friends. That is my opinion. It might be an East Coast thing. I'd like to think that's worldwide. What makes a man is loyalty to his friends. Loyalty to your friends, to your beliefs, to the people who support you. All of those things. That is what loyalty is. That is what manhood is. SJWs do not understand that because SJWs do not have friends. They have allies who they will completely turn on at any second. Frank Tieri's mistake, Dan Panosian's mistake, and everyone who follows in this thread, and there are quite a few people, is that they thought they could swim with these sharks. Hey, if I just I don't know, if I swim around in the ocean with sharks and just kind of move like a shark, maybe they won't notice me and eat me. Eventually, they will notice you, and they will eat you. All right, so Fick Dish is German, says Julian Zajgla. Zajgla. Fick Dish. Dick? Is it dick or dish? Fick Dish. Fuck you. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate that. Loyalty is everything. That's what I say. I say that on this chat every single day. Loyalty is everything. Stand up to these people. Stand up to them. You can be the change in the world that you want. That is true. Just by kind of staying true to your beliefs, true to your friends, true to your the people who you need to be loyal to. I've had so many people stab me in the back out of convenience, out of hoping that they would get something out of it. They don't get anything out of it. There's nothing in it for you. There's so much in it for you forever to just be loyal to people. Just be loyal. You know, I've taught, I one of my best friends now. He didn't start out being one of my best friends, but he is now. Richard C. Meyer. He just started out as a dude that I was listening to what he was saying online. He was on my Facebook. He was a fan of mine. on my Facebook page, and he would come and go. Sometimes he didn't like the things that I would say, but he'd come back. He liked to fight. He liked to argue with people. And he started his YouTube channel, enormous, big success, and I'm listening to him. I believe in what he's saying. And then we kind of become friends again. And I'll tell you something, time and time and time again, these SJWs and people from the industry would say to me, stop supporting Richard C. Meyer. Stop it. It's going to hurt you to support Richard C. Meyer. And I'm telling you, these conversations happen all the time. These wacko night letters from social justice warriors telling each other, telling you that you better stop this, you better stop saying that, you better stop being friends with this person, stop making overt moves of support towards this person or that idea, or else things are going to go bad for you. Within this industry where there is no money to be made. This is not 1992. There is no money to be made in comics anymore. So you're not even selling out your friends for money. You're selling out your friends for nothing. For nothing. I have never once sold out Zach. Never once. I never will. Fuck, he's my friend. He's always stood up for me. He's always said nice things about me, except when he criticizes my comics, which he's done a few times. But always decide who your friends are. That is right. Be loyal to your friends. Your friends, by the way, make themselves known. There is nothing better. You could have 1,000 acquaintances that are all on the verge of stabbing you in the back, or one loyal, good friend. Somebody who will actually just go to the mat, defending you. Somebody who's always on your side, tell you when you're wrong, but he's still going to stand up for you in the face of this. One good friend is worth 1,000 disgusting comic book industry acquaintances that are just waiting to knock you down. One good friend. That's what loyalty is for. That's how you preserve that for yourself. I promise you, have that for yourself. Frank Tieri is doing that right now. Frank Tieri here, he's having that for himself. Did he know? I mean, does he know at this point that by standing up to Mark Allen Frisch and telling him to go fuck himself in German, that he is going to be swarmed by SJWs? I don't think he knew at this point, but he's giving that to himself. He's saying, no, I'm going to be true to my boys. I'm true to my friends. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be loyal to my friends. I'm going to take some slings and arrows for them. That's when you find out, man. When you sign up for ComicsGate, when you become part of ComicsGate, the good thing about it is that you find out who your friends are real quick. Mark Oliver Frisch. Mark Oliver Frisch. You must have digged really deep for an insult that's not misogynist. I'll give you credit for that. The fuck? You're not a woman, Mark, are you? Why would he say something misogynist to you? He's insulting you. How hard would it be? What are you saying here? Why would it be difficult to come up with an insult that isn't misogynist when he's telling you to go fuck yourself? And he's calling Frank Tieri a misogynist here. Frank goes, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. Anyway, douchebag, no one's heard from you in like a decade, and we were all very cool with that. So you can kindly go back to being completely irrelevant wherever the fuck you were. Thanks, Frank Tieri. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let me scroll down more. Mark Oliver Frisch. It really warms my heart that there's a bunch of assholes on the other side of the Atlantic who are still pissed at me for what I wrote 10 years ago. Well, it's what you're writing right now, too, to be fair. It's what you're writing right now, you know. And by the way, here's Frank Tieri again. By the way, you pseudo-intellectual piece of shit, whenever you grow balls big enough to call me an asshole to my face, you let me know. We could do it at a con or in a parking lot. But either way, I'm quite sure that you won't. Let me read that again. And by the way, you pseudo-intellectual piece of shit, whenever you grow balls big enough to call me an asshole to my face, you let me know. We could do it at a con or in a parking lot, but I'm either way quite sure that you won't. Should have been a fucking right here. You fucking won't. All right, Frank Tieri, ladies and gentlemen. Support his work, by the way. Look up Frank Tieri. He writes Marvel, he writes DC. And like I said, I mean, you know, these East Coast guys, Frank Tieri, Jimmy Palmiotti, I don't know. You know, like we've been, when it comes to me and them, I mean, it's like cool, you know, not friendly. Friendly? I don't know. I've seen Frank Tieri. Frank Tieri is, he's a good guy. I don't recall Frank Tieri coming out as anti-ComicsGate, and I hope he doesn't. He might right now. I hope he doesn't. Stand up against these people. It continued. What's going on? It continued, but that tweet was the one that got more people worried. The parking lot reference was interpreted one way. All right, so this is the thing. You know, you can't be a man anymore. Like, this is him saying, you know what? Like, you can say what you can run your mouth, say whatever you want to say. You want to call me a misogynist, say it to my face. You know, in the old days, there used to be dueling. Men didn't run their mouth about other men, because the consequences were that you might get shot for it. You might get punched in the face. You know, you would get called for, they'd be like, I demand, you know, I want my honor avenged. You called me a misogynist. They didn't care about that back then. They were all misogynists. But you know, you trifled with my honor. It's pistols at 10 paces. And then you just went, oh, maybe I shouldn't have called that dude a misogynist. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, because now there's a chance I'm going to get shot. You know, or yeah, you know, you didn't run your mouth because somebody was gonna see you, and then, you know, you're gonna have to answer for what you said. Caffeinated Comic Book says, Uncle, I didn't receive a notification for this. I'm so sorry. I sent out on Twitter, you know, I let people know this was happening. Mighty John E says, EVS declares he will punch people in the face. Nah, not really. I demand satisfaction. That is right. That was the old days, but you can't do that now. So people are like, oh my God, he said that if he wants to run his mouth, he can answer with his fist. Oh my goodness. This isn't the way comics are meant to be. This guy, I don't know who he is. He says, dude, to Frank Tieri, dude, calm down. Think hard before writing things like this for posterity. That's correct. Frank Tieri, don't you understand that this is not an industry for men? This is an industry for little femboys who gossip, little mean girl boys who gossip and run their mouths and call other men names and expect no consequences for it. They can say whatever they want to say. Do you understand that this industry is full of mincing little girly boys who run their mouths and call you names, and you have to just put up with it? Think hard before writing things like this. People are going to think you're mean. That dude called you names, called you a shitheel, called you a misogynist, and you said you want to fight? Oh, my goodness. Hey, hey, Frank, this isn't the real world. This is Soy Boy Central. This is the comic book industry. Did you forget? Think hard before writing things like that. Think hard before writing with your balls. Here we go. Here's the comics writer that's so desperate to prove his manhood and superiority over someone else that he's threatening violence. Imagine. By the way, this is another thing that SJWs do. Imagine. I'm going to do, as soon as I do this video series, imagine having such cowardice rooted so deep in your soul. Don't allow this. How is it cowardice, dude? The guy actually called him names. He defamed him. He called him a shitheel, and he called him a misogynist. A lot of people don't want to tolerate that. A lot of people don't want to tolerate casual slander. And if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, something like that might happen. You might get punched in the mouth. You said something bad about him. And then I got brought in. And by the way, yeah, I do. Apollo 536, thanks for $10. Civilized men are more discourteous than savages because they know they can be impolite without having their skulls split as a general thing. That's a quote from Robert E. Howard. Yeah. All right. So David goes on. He goes, here's the all right, so we read that part. Rich Johnson got punched at New York City Comic Con by a comics writer once. Who I didn't know that. Who punched Rich Johnson? He took it on the chin and didn't snitch. But maybe in 2019, we should try harder to sweep these bad actors off the board. So now Frank Tieri gets to be called names. He gets to be called a shitheel for standing up for his friend. Let's just rewind things a second here. Dan Panosian was, I think, mistreated, mischaracterized by a crazy woman, crazy person. And he tried to have a decent, civilized conversation with her and instead was ridiculed and insulted. And he responded by saying, you know what, you should probably work on your art a little bit more than, criticizing mine. Implicit in that is, I'm really good and you're not good. You got a ways to go. You got a ways to go. Can you imagine? That's like me criticizing Mozart. It's like, I wrote the Butter Song. Mozart, I wrote the Butter Song. I don't know. I'm just not so sure that. I just feel like this tune is about, that you're writing right now, is about demeaning women. He'd be like, it isn't about that. It's about the moonlight. Well, it just seems like, listen, don't belittle my interpretation of this, okay? I am the guy who wrote the Butter Song. Oh, by the way, in this, I'm lisping. I'm the guy who wrote the Butter Song. How dare you? How dare you diminish? How dare you diminish my criticism of your work? Of your expertise? How dare you pretend? How dare you insinuate and imply that my bullshit, my half-baked, dumbass ideas and criticism of your masterworks are not valid? How dare you? And because of this, Frank Tieri came in and said, hey, you didn't do anything wrong. You treated that person with respect and they were being unreasonable. And then he got called a shitheel and a misogynist by a German dude, by a mincing German dude. And Frank Tieri said, you want to call me that to my face? We can do it in a parking lot. Now, suddenly, Frank Tieri's the bad guy. He's the bad guy. And SJWs are swarming Frank Tieri, too. And David here, Hermanos, David is saying, you know what? Somebody like Frank Tieri should not be allowed to work in the comic book industry. He's a bad actor. He's a bad actor. He should be swept off the board. Let's take away his livelihood because of this. All right, just keep all this in mind. Follow this. Their insanity is going to be confusing. I just want you to keep in mind exactly what is going on here. 2,207 people watching. Thank you. Good to have you here. And thank you for the super chats, everyone. Just got another $10. Let me see. OBDM video says, Verpus Dish. Verpus Dish. Love the show. Jingle Bingle dash is required to send super chat. Oh, I see. So Verpus Dish is how to say go fuck yourself in German. Thank you. Thank you, my German friends. I appreciate you. Well, yes. And as a foreigner, this is Rich Johnson talking about getting punched in the face. He said, well, yes. And as a foreigner in the U.S., not knowing what I could do that wouldn't potentially affect my entry into America then or since, just took the beating and legged it. Still feel shame about that. I blame toxic masculinity. I hate Rich Johnson so much, dude. He's such a smarmy dickhead. It's not something I've talked about much, but it got out. And of course, I'm hardly in a position to criticize David for gossiping about me, am I? All right, so David goes on. I mean, threatening someone lives thousands of miles away is selling wolf tickets to me, but what do I know? Maybe this 48-year-old man is really out in these Brooklyn streets knocking out whoever crosses him like he's 16 again. Bet not, though. Sounds like a pose to me. Well, you don't know Frank Tieri. I think he is. That's my opinion. I think Frank Tieri is. I think Frank Tieri, I don't know if he's 48. Is he 48? He probably is 48. Yeah, I think Frank Tieri would punch Mark Oliver Frisch in the face for calling him names, for defending his friend. You know, I don't think he's out in the streets knocking people out. I think he defends his honor. But then Frank, here we go. But then Frank repeated his offer to David Brothers, current editor. Is this David Brothers? Oh, it must be Hermanos. All right, so he is the editor at Viz Media and previously branding manager at Image Comics. And here's what he says. Actually, you don't know the history I have with the guy. A guy who started that whole exchange by attacking my friends and calling me names, by the way. But either way, you can go fuck yourself, and you get you the same invite I gave him. Say it to my face, keyboard John Gotti. Yeah. Say it to my face, keyboard John Gotti. Let me read that again. I like this. Actually, you don't know the history I have with the guy. A guy who started the whole exchange by attacking my friends and calling me names, by the way. But either way, you can go fuck yourself, and you get you the same invite I gave him. Say it to my face, keyboard John Gotti. All right. Frank Tieri, the 9th of March, 2019. So this is 2 days later, by the way. Frank's had time to think about it. And 2 days later, he's still salty, man. You know. All right. Oh, we got another super chat here. $6.99. Thank you. Let me read that. Oh, it's just a tip. Thank you, Splendopia. Appreciate that. You can, if you send me a super chat and you want to send me like $7, I mean, you can send a message along with that. I don't know if you didn't know that, but yeah, I'll read your, whatever you say, I'll read your message. Draken Wolf says for $2, he says, mind if I send you a few drawings next week? Absolutely. I'd love to see him. And Apollo 536, thanks for $10. He says, for the record, I wasn't advocating violence. I was just thinking that these SJWs made me realize that I better understand and appreciate our pre-civilized ancestors. Yeah, I completely understood what you were saying. I'm not advocating violence either. I'm advocating people be responsible in what they're saying. You know, I don't know. Force Ghost Burt Reynolds says, does he have a product we can support, Ethan? Yeah, just go to Amazon and look up Frank Tieri. You'll get a ton of stuff. But you might change your mind in a minute. Cecil's son says, saw Captain Marvel on the weekend. Wasn't actually that bad. Hashtag surprised. Well, that's good. Tyler Keller, thanks for $5 tip. Appreciate that. Let me have a drink and we'll continue on with this tirade. This is fun. All right. So Frank Tieri is basically telling David Brothers from Viz Media that he'll punch him in the face too if he wants to say any of this to his face. And that is the thing. It's easier to say this stuff from behind a keyboard. And it was suddenly a whole other thing. And critics and creators had statements to make. All right, so now it's blown up. Now Frank Tieri is going to be the victim of Swarm, SJW Swarm. Now, I would like to say, if Frank Tieri is listening now, and maybe he is, Frank, look, take notes. Take notes on all this. And ask yourself the questions that I was asking earlier. How much is this worth to you? How much are you making in comics right now? How much is this worth to you? What is the price that you will accept in order to bow and scrape to these people who you know are wrong? Because you know I'm watching this, and other people are watching this too. We watched how this all went down. We know that there are some people who are in this who are in the right, and other people who are so arrogant at this point because they are ruling the roost over a basically devastated comic book industry. I think maybe that, you know, some of these people might be thinking that comics are going to kind of do a 180. Things are going to get better. I don't see how that's going to happen. And I don't think you think that either. Not the way this is. The mainstream comic book industry is not going to do it. It's not going to heal itself because times are changing. It's not like it used to be where it was just a matter of adjusting a couple of things and then everything was going to be okay. It's just, it's not in store for the comic book industry. The direct market cannot sustain itself when, you know, people just don't want to go out and go to comic stores anymore. And There's too much inferior product. By the way, Dan DiDio, we'll get to that in a second. Dan DiDio of DC Comics came out and made a fascinating statement. Let me see about. I'll bet that's on the front page here. Yeah, this is incredible right here. I'm probably going to endorse some ads. Dan DiDio. All right, let's watch this ad real quick here. I can't stand this. Bounty, at least that's good. I use Bounty paper towels. You should too. Use Bounty paper towels. It's the quicker picker upper. 5 men in. All right. Dan DiDio on the talent pool, $3.99 price points and the growth of kids comics. Just real quick here. Dan DiDio at Comic Pro had a lot of things to say. Dan DiDio is the president of DC Comics. And Dan DiDio basically just came out. He said he told retailers that he believes the quality of the available talent pool isn't deep enough for the number of titles that the comics industry is publishing. There are too many comics and not enough quality creators to create them. However, DC Comics has better rates and royalties than the competition to access a better talent pool. Goddamn. Dan, I completely agree with you. Once again, what an amazing thing for Dan to say. Dan is actually saying, yeah, the comic book industry is basically made up of untalented, shitty creators right now. That's why there are too many books out there, and they're garbage. They're absolutely garbage because there are a lot of people on Twitter running their mouths. There are not enough in this industry. $3.99 price points, $4.99 price points at this point, cover price on a comic book. Who's worth that? Who's worth that? People are just producing garbage right now. Garbage. All right. That was an incredible thing to say. Absolutely incredible thing to say. All right, another ad here. Sorry. We are, well, at least on, at least I got 2,170 people watching it from a live stream. I'm sure the advertiser's happy. Bleeding Cool's not. All right, hurry up now. 8 more seconds of Gears. I don't know what this ad is. I don't know what they're selling here. Do more when you store with IBM. Thank you. I no thank you. All right. Scroll down a little bit more. It continued. Now people are getting worried because Frank is threatening violence. Rich Johnson got punched in the face once, and that's interesting to me. And David Hermanos comes back. He says, David Brothers. Threatening someone lives thousands of miles away is selling wolf tickets. And then Frank tells him, hey, you can get some too, bitch. And that's when Megan here, Megan Hutchinson, I guess, says, although he says pecan wrong and he threw my veggie pizza in the street once, Frank Tieri is a fiercely loyal friend and one of my favorite humans on the planet. Team Tieri. Also, he introduced me to Don Cates. Look at this. We're bringing in the SJWs now. So I owe him a lot. Now, this is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. She is now lining up behind Frank Tieri. Now battle lines are being drawn here. Artist supporting Frank Tieri. Bringing in Donnie Cates. Donnie Cates recently came out against ComicsGate. He is an SJW, I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about Donnie Cates. I've never read anything he's ever written. But the lines are being drawn now. Now this lunatic here, this bitch. Oh, God. Oh, smirking with pink hair. No, this is a critic. This is someone who we would call a critic. Yeah, somebody's saying friend of Tim Doyle and upset. Well, I don't know. I don't know where Tim Doyle would fall here. I think Tim Doyle would fall on the side of the critics, not on the side of Frank Tieri. Here, that's it. All right. Regarding comics men, demanding critics meet them face-to-face in a car park. Eye roll. I was once warned that I should hope to never meet a prominent comics man on the street after I reviewed his comic. I knew what he asterisk meant asterisk. We all know what these vague threats mean. It wasn't vague. Fall whatever your name is. It wasn't vague. He actually said, you called me a name. You want to call that name to my face? I will punch you in a parking lot. That was pretty, honestly, I don't think it was vague. I think it was pretty direct. That's how men talk to each other often. That's kind of how men talk to each other. I'm not saying that's how you should be talked to. You're a woman. If a man actually said, I will hit you, I would be pissed. That doesn't make any sense to me. But it was two men talking. And honestly, I don't see anything wrong with that. I like that. I actually think that's okay. I think men should actually say, I want to fight you over this, rather than bitching at each other on Twitter, or rather than just attacking someone, blindsiding them. I like the idea of demanding satisfaction. That makes sense to me. Cully Hamner, no friend of mine, comes out in support of Frank Tieri as well. Artist. Here's what I know. Frank Tieri is about as loyal, here's the word, loyal, a friend as there is, and comics are not, or out. He's earned every inch of his career in this biz with great work, and he has a huge heart. If you know him, if you know anything about him at all, you know that. Okay, so we've got artists, we've got writers, we've got creative people coming out on Frank Tieri's side. Okay. Kim O'Connor, standing offer to make fun of Frank Tieri, his terrible comics, and his life choices straight to his smirking face. You're a woman. He's not going to hit you. Tyler Keller, thanks for $10, says, what kind of name is Tall? Ball? I don't know. I really don't know. It's always, look at, why are women? You're a woman. He doesn't want to hit you. Why do women do this? Standing offer to make fun of Frank Tieri, his terrible comics, and his life choices straight to his smirking face in the parking lot per his suggestion, because everyone knows that's where the most civilized conversation takes place. Well, sometimes civilization breaks down. We watched we watched Dan Panosian try to be civilized. Dan Panosian, just regular guy, trying to be civilized with somebody, trying to give someone the unearned respect. And that didn't work. It just didn't work. At some point, after sitting there spitting in someone's face like that, and by the way, Mark Oliver Frisch came out and just spat right in Frank Tieri's face, called him a shitheel and a misogynist, praying and demanding a civilized conversation. It's too late. You had your chance. I don't know what this has to do with you, weirdo. Weirdo, I don't know what this has to do with you, and you're a woman. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. It's two men. Donnie Thumb and Fist says, Tieri already bent in the knee and issues an apology. I know. We're going to get to that in a second. Here's Jimmy Palmiotti, best friend of Frank Tieri. He says, those friends you have that no matter what kind of madness is happening in your life, they always have your back? Frank Tieri is one of those guys. Do you understand? This is, by the way, this is, this is the kind of friendship that Frank Tieri has engendered, because he is loyal, and he's fiercely loyal. He's taking a beating right now on behalf of his friend Dan Panosian. His other friends are here backing him up. Yeah. All this drama, these SJWs just eating each other up. All right, let's go back and forth. Here's Rosie Knight. I don't know who this is. I don't know who these people are. Claire is a thoughtful, kind, and talented critic who brought up a very reasonable and completely valid, no, it wasn't, it was wrong, critique of a cover, which I agree didn't fit the comic. All right, that's all right. That makes sense. And now Frank Tieri is threatening to punch people. Grow the fuck up, all you children. You missed the part where somebody called Frank Tieri, a man called Frank Tieri a shitheel and a misogynist. You left that part out for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why you would leave that part out. All right, so let's go over this real quick. Claire is a thoughtful, kind, and talented critic. Wrong. She's not thoughtful. She's stupid. She's not kind. She's rude and arrogant. She's not talented either. Her art is terrible, and her criticism is wrong. Who brought up a very reasonable, no, it was wrong. And completely valid, no, it was wrong, critique of a cover, which I agree didn't fit the comic. That is correct. That is fine. I don't agree with it, but well, what do I know? I didn't read the comic. But if it didn't fit the comic, that's a matter of opinion, and this I accept. And now Frank Tieri is threatening to punch people. And we skipped the part, we lied by omission here, by skipping the part where Mark Oliver Frisch, completely unwarranted, came out and told Frank Tieri that he was a shitheel and a misogynist. And Frank Tieri, who apparently has history with Mark, said, you want to talk about this finally? We have beef. We've got issues between the two of us. You call me names in public. You want to actually work this out with our hands in public somewhere? That can happen. Just let me know. You want to continue to call me names from behind the keyboard? That's one thing. If you want to actually meet up and settle this decisively the way men used to settle things, that's something we can do. He didn't threaten to punch someone. He offered to fight him. He didn't say, I'm going to walk up to you and punch you. He said, we can meet somewhere and fight. And he said that after being provoked. Grow the fuck up, all you children. Yeah, that's everybody pretty much here. Except for Frank. And by the way, except for Dan, too. No, it's just the SJWs. Grow the fuck up, SJWs. You're wrong. You're 100% wrong here. Chris Eliopoulos, letterer, says, I'm not sure what happened, but even if he's a Yankees fan, Frank Tieri is a good man. Spent a lot of time with him this past weekend, and he's one of the good ones. So I'm on Team Tieri. So people are lining up again. Artist, creative person. Nick Hanover, another creep, another weirdo. Imagine if dudes in comics put half as much energy into supporting marginalized creators when they get harassed as they do defending Frank Tieri from, checks notes, having his own inflammatory comments read back to him. All right, well, your notes are bullshit, and there are no marginalized creators, except for me. I'm doing fine. I'm not marginalized. When they get harassed. All right, Frank Tieri was not having his own inflammatory comments read back to him. He was called names. I have to repeat this over and over again because they lie. These people lie and they kind of gaslight and they try to change the narrative and control the narrative. Frank Tieri was called names. He stood up for his friend. He said, Dan, you did nothing wrong. You behaved yourself perfectly there. They're going to call you names. I'm here to tell you, you did nothing wrong there. I watched the whole exchange. And for that, he gets called a shitheel and he gets told he's a misogynist. And yeah. All right. Sean Gordon Murphy, Salt of the Earth. Frank Tieri is a stand-up guy. One of my favorite people to get drunk with at shows. Like others are already saying, super honest and loyal. Again, the word loyalty. All right. Steve Morris. Fascinating to watch comics men close ranks so quickly around Frank Tieri. We're seeing in real time the agenda which protected people like Eddie Berganza for years. All right. Now you're pushing it. Weirdo. Weirdo with the cartoon animal avatar. Now you're pushing it. Frank Tieri did nothing wrong. Nothing at all. And Eddie Berganza was not protected by loyalty. He was protected by fear of ostracization. But first of all, here's the thing about Eddie Berganza. I knew one story about Eddie Berganza. I knew one story about one thing that he did. And I thought it was weird, but I was like, well, he got drunk. I don't know. I didn't know he had a history of this. But see, people like this do know that. They know because they gossip endlessly. They gossip endlessly about each other. They knew all about Eddie Berganza. The reason Eddie Berganza wasn't fired wasn't because of loyalty. It wasn't because Eddie Berganza was a great guy that everyone liked. It was the same reason why people don't stand up to SJWs, the same phenomenon. The reason why Eddie Berganza, people protected him, wasn't out of loyalty. It was because people were afraid. People were afraid of losing their jobs. People were afraid that if they stood up for, or if they fought back against Eddie Berganza, if they admitted what they knew about Eddie Berganza and tried to get him fired, tried to get him removed, stood up for against what he did, then they would no longer get their $35,000 a year salary working for Marvel Comics or DC Comics. They'd be seen as a problem. It's the same thing. It's the same reason why people bow and scrape to SJWs and comics now. Who has the power? At the time, Eddie Berganza had the power. Eddie had the power. He was hiring. He was a big editor at DC. You want to go up against that? What if that means you get blacklisted from comics? It wasn't a dude bro thing. Nobody was high-fiving Eddie Berganza. He was a fucking metrosexual. I knew Eddie Berganza. People weren't dude broing Eddie. He had a flavor saver in the late 90s. So it wasn't that. It wasn't a dude bro kind of thing. It was just that people were afraid. And again, there are bad actors in comics, and people make decisions based on how they think it's going to affect them personally, how they think it's going to affect their career in comics. Are they going to get blacklisted? Is there going to be a problem if they stand up for what's right? And so that's pretty much what's happening here. It's the opposite of what you're seeing happen to Frank Tieri. Frank Tieri is now being swarmed by SJWs who are powerful because they're little gossip machines, and they're very, very good at destroying people's careers. Very good at it. They're very good at it. And they will devote themselves to it. And when those ones get tired out, there's a whole fleet of other mincing weirdos that are willing to take up the slack. So Frank Tieri, standing up for Frank Tieri is a brave thing to do right now. It's a brave thing to do. It's the opposite of the people who are all SJWs, by the way, who knew what Eddie Berganza was up to, were happy to gossip about him behind his back, but would never fully come out. And by the way, all of them would take work from him. I work with a few very vocal, feminist SJWs who worked for Eddie Berganza at the same time I did. And everybody knew. I didn't know. I didn't know anything about that shit. How was I supposed to know? I don't talk about people. I had no idea what Eddie was up to. I heard one story where he hooked up with one guy's girlfriend at a convention. Guy went to the bathroom, came back, and Eddie's tongue kissing his girlfriend. I just went, that's not cool. I went, Eddie's macking on this dude's girlfriend when he leaves. That's not cool. I don't like that. I'll keep Eddie away from my wife. That's all I knew. Everybody else knew everything. All right, here we go. Donnie Cates. Donnie Cates comes out for Frank Tieri, one of the most kindest, most fiercely loyal people I've ever met. Loyal. Again, loyalty. I can't tell you how many times he's been a supportive shoulder for me and anyone else who needs him. He also introduced me to Black M Art, so I will forever get that dude's back. All right, are you sure? Now, in the meantime, here we go. All of these people, look, Reverend Dave Johnson, horrible SJW. Cully Hamner, horrible SJW. Jimmy Palmiotti, regular dude. Sean Gordon Murphy, regular dude. Frank Tieri, great guy. Very mixed comics. Oh, come the fuck on, fellow comics pros. Look, Frank Tieri might be the nicest guy in general, might be a nice guy in general. For all I know, everyone is more than their worst tweet, yada, yada, yada. And I understand wanting to defend your pal. But what Tieri tweeted is indefensible, period. I disagree. I just disagree. But now you've got a posture against this now, or else you're going to be pro-violence. Dan Panosian comes out. It should go without saying, don't threaten people. If you're engaging people on social media, do so like you're meeting them face to face and show some decency and respect. It goes a long way. Your opinion matters. Just be polite to others if you intend on sharing yours. Dan is being a regular guy here. He says, life is too short for aggressive Twitter battles. Regarding my friend Frank Tieri, he's old school. And if you come at him aggressively, or anyone for that matter, be prepared for some of the same. I learned it's best to pause and ultimately walk away from negativity. Yeah, this is good advice. He's actually just saying, look, if you come at Frank Tieri, if you come at anyone like that, you should kind of be prepared for somebody to kind of get their hackles up. Frank Tieri, again, here's Mark Oliver Fresh. Now Mark is emboldened because one of Frank's friends, couple of people are now calling Frank violent. So Mark Oliver Fresh, so now that he's blocking me, how would I let Frank Tieri know if I decided to take him up on his repeated offer to do me bodily harm? These dudes are so confusing. All right, let me look at the chat. Yeah, I have to take a break from this. I really do. It's awful. These people are terrible. Yeah, they are like little maggots. Gaslighting. Exactly. They use the entire NPD toolkit. NPC, you mean? Yeah, James Ireland says, ha, big man now, eh? Yeah, now he's a big man. Now he's ready to get bodily harm done to him. Yeah. But you see, that's the thing. I mean, now it's all about, shifting the power dynamic back and forth to kind of get people. Now people are going to start to back Frank Tieri down. And now that that's starting to happen, Mark Oliver Frisch feels emboldened. Frank Tieri decided the best thing to do was just you can't do this. Best thing to do was to block Mark Oliver Frisch after threatening him. That's, not threatening him. I take that back. After saying, hey, you want to meet in the parking lot and punch it out. It's not a threat. The answer could be no. And the answer could be, I'm sorry for calling you a shitheel and a misogynist. That's always a way to go. A way to go would be sorry for insulting you. Although there was a different take here. Here's Jude Terror, a remake of 3 O'Clock High, but set at a comic convention and starring Frank Tieri as Buddy Revell. Not helping, Jude. Somebody tell Frank Tieri I heard that 1.5 million bats have challenged him to a fight in the parking lot in Austin, Texas tonight. Is he man enough to show up and be carried away by a horde of angry bats, or is he just a keyboard warrior? I know what Jude's talking about. Shut up, Jude. Since writing this up last night, Frank Tieri has deleted his tweets and has issued Bleeding Cool with the following statement, which will be posted on his social media. He says, now be prepared. This is the thing. Frank Tieri never should have done this. This is where he blows it, right here. Do not ever, guys, please, if you take one thing from this channel, do not ever apologize to SJWs. Don't ever apologize to SJWs. Ever, ever, ever. Not even if you're actually wrong. Do not apologize to them. Don't do it. Frank Tieri has relented to the pressure. Sometimes combining personal stress and the negativity of the internet can cause even the best of us to overreact and to say things that are not normally in our nature or that represent how we behave in our daily lives. And unfortunately, that's what I got caught up in the other day. I overreacted trying to defend myself and a friend against what I regarded as numerous personal attacks. I regret my choice of words. And in retrospect, I certainly see how they can be taken literally. I took them literally. They were meant literally. Just to be clear, although my rhetoric was heated in the moment, I in no way meant a literal statement of violence or threat upon anyone, either online or in person. Regardless of my intent, though, the end result was unprofessional of me and wrong. Apologies to those involved, the fans, and my friends in the industry who have always supported me. This won't be happening again. All right. So Frank is afraid he's going to lose his job. He's not going to be offered work anymore. Frank is afraid he's just blacklisted himself, so he's apologizing. All right, and because he apologized, now is when the SJWs are going to swarm on him and all of his friends who supported him. Maybe it's worth in future taking care where the lines you draw are pointing to, says Richard Johnson. David Hermanos on the 5th of March, a while back, said, is it time for another creators versus critics fight? It's been a while since the last one. Steve Moore says, this time I'm starting it. Heidi McDonald says, it's quiet, too quiet. Alternate timeline, March 10th. Oh, that was yesterday. All right. So this is interesting. They're actually talking about starting a creators versus critics fight. And then boom, it happened on the 7th. Heidi McDonald points that out. That's interesting. The prophecy has been fulfilled, says Steve Morris. Now, because of this, let me stop sharing for a minute. Because of this, there is a panic out there. I am receiving messages. People are blocking each other on social media and threatening each other. All right, hold on a second. Let me pull up some more stuff here. This is from today. Yeah. Well, every time I scroll, there's another ad. Yeah. All right. I got a lot of emails here. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Yeah, so here's a person I don't like. I don't mind saying so. I don't mind saying I don't like this person. This is an SJW troublemaker by the name of Jennifer de Guzman. I don't know what she does, but she is one of the worst people on the face of the earth. A lot of comics dudes use Donald Trump's definition of loyalty. And yeah, I honestly have no idea what's going on, but I'm assuming Frank Tieri made a bunch of threats against someone because of a review. And a lot of comics pros like Jamal Igle are approving of what he said and calling him a nice guy. Calling people, this is what they're doing now. It's like Trump supporters. None of these people are Trump supporters. A lot of comics dudes. They want to make it about gender, of course. You know, that's important. And then to call you a Trump supporter if you are for loyalty. Now, again, Jennifer de Guzman comes back with another one. This is just great. They're circling the wagon, she says. They're circling the wagons. Your friend calls a critic misogynist insults, and you don't call him out? Does anybody know what she's talking about? Like, what is the misogynist insult? I missed that part. She's coming after Cully Hamner here. Cully. Oh my God. Look. What were the misogynist insults? I missed those. I didn't see those. Now I could have like missed them. I could have forgotten about them. But what did he say that was misogynist? He used the C dash 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 word. I missed that, Joseph McCafferty. I missed that. It's funny. But yeah, you apologized. And so basically, here's what's happening now. The SJW smell blood, and now they're attacking each one of you individually. And you've got Cully Hamner here, who is in an attempt to stay loyal to Frank Tieri. He's going to have to make a choice here. All right. So, Cully, is your friendship to Frank Tieri worth standing up to Jennifer de Guzman? Your friend calls a critic misogynist insults, and you don't call him out. Like I said, it seems like you're on the same bullshit he is. Now, Cully Hamner's a misogynist. And I got to say, I'm delighted by this. I am delighted by this. I like it. Why do I like it? Because I really dislike SJWs. I like it when they eat each other. Look, I mean, they could be attacking me. They're not right now. They're attacking each other. It's kind of nice. Dr. Fantastic says, this is one of the most educational pieces you have ever done. Thank you. I just want people to understand there is no reason to be kind or merciful or apologetic or deferential to SJWs. It's not about, let me make this clear. It's not about men, women, people of color, gays. It's about SJWs versus normal people. SJWs can be gay. SJWs can be women. SJWs can be white males. And in fact, they usually are white males. SJWs are a political social movement. They're a disease. They're a cancer. They are. And they destroy everything they get into. That's why it's worrisome that Captain Marvel did so well. Captain Marvel's an SJW film. Captain Marvel doing well at the box office on opening weekend means that, look, there's going to be more shit like that, and eventually it's going to kill the MCU. These people get in there, they destroy prosperity. They find a nice place to perch. They find a successful platform for themselves. They take it over by doing things like this. This is what they do. Cully Hamner, you will be made to kneel before Jennifer de Guzman because she strikes again. They're circling the wagons. They're all protecting Frank Tieri. All the guys who are loyal to Frank Tieri are saying, I like him. I like him. Yeah, but you're an SJW, aren't you? Are you an SJW? Are you willing to be called a misogynist to protect your friend Frank Tieri? That's where the rubber meets the road. That's where you find out who Frank Tieri is going to find out who his friends really are. Because, look, if this continues, if this grows, which we'll see if it does or doesn't, it's a lot of pressure. This is nothing compared to what I go through. Frank Tieri, this is nothing compared to what I go through. I like it though. This is probably new to you. In fact, I know it is because your friends are all messaging me saying that you're afraid. So here's the thing. Are your friends going to stand up for you against complete and total scum of the earth SJWs? Worthless, creatively worthless, critically worthless human beings like Jennifer de Guzman, people who exist only to destroy other people, people who exist only to destroy prosperity, people who exist only to destroy people's lives. That's what Jennifer de Guzman exists for. I don't know what she does. I don't know what she makes. All I know, she makes drama. She makes destruction. She makes people miserable. She stresses people out. She does it to people who actually profess loyalty to the same belief system that she has. She's not doing this because she cares. She's not doing this because she cares about women. She's not doing this because she cares about gays. She's not doing this because she cares about marginalized people. She uses those things as an excuse because she's addicted to destroying people's lives. How can she best destroy people's lives and make people miserable and make people exert power over people? How can she exert power over people, destroy people's lives, make people miserable while making herself look and feel great? She's protecting marginalized people. Marginalized people. She's doing this for the gays. She's doing this for the ladies. she's doing this for people of color. She's standing up for them. And that's how she destroys people's lives. That is how she wins internet backpats. She wants those internet backpats. Stroking. She wants to feel good about herself. It's important to SJWs that they feel like they're the good guys when they're absolutely the villains. Absolutely villainous. This is villainous behavior. You're lying about what happened. You SJWs are lying about what happened. They are gaslighting. They are going to make Cully Hamner make a choice between allowing people to call him a misogynist or standing up for his friend Frank. Frank is trying to mitigate that damage by apologizing for what he said, but Frank didn't really do anything wrong. Frank stood up for himself. Frank Tieri did 0 things wrong. He stood up for himself. He didn't threaten to hit a woman. He threatened. He didn't even threaten. Let me walk that back. He didn't threaten. He said, if you want to say things like this about me, why don't we meet somewhere so that I can defend myself like men should defend themselves, the way they used to. You're attacking my honor. I would like to fight you. I would like to fist fight you over my honor. My honor is worth fighting for. My honor is worth fighting for, to me. People say, who is Jennifer de Guzman? How is she able to destroy lives? Who the fuck is she and why does anybody give a shit what she says? She's an SJW. She has figured out a way to power herself into a position where people learn. She's a bully. She's absolutely a bully who has learned to bully her way into this position. Where, look, I will write articles about you. I have friends in the media who will write articles about you, calling you names. You will bow to me. You will submit to Guzman. Yeah. So that is what's going on right now. By the way, this has been a long live stream. It's like 2 hours long. All right, let me read some super chats. And I'll look at the chat. If you guys have anything that you want to add, that you want to say, I will pay attention to you. Yeah, Tieri already bent the knee and issued an apology. That is right. He did. The SJW Civil War is upon us. Let's watch and enjoy, says Billy Ritchie. Black Bull 77 says, can't we just pretend to be Mo Howard and slap the soy out of these silly SJWs? That's violence. That's an act of violence. Sean Skyson says, SJWs don't realize how hypocritical they are. Tyler Keller, thanks for $5. All right, let me see if I'm caught up this way. Logan Michael says, just joined. What happened? You good? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm enjoying myself. Dr. Coffinail says, Jim Salicrup, now editor-in-chief of Barbie. Thoughts? I have zero thoughts on that. Should I be concerned? Barbie is here's the thing about Barbie though. Barbie is like G.I. Joe. It's a cultural war touchstone. Like it's a landmark. It's a mountain to take, because Barbie represents traditional American womanhood, like what girls should be into, and G.I. Joe represents what boys should be into. You know, they're two very gendered properties. So when they took G.I. Joe and made it into something weird, you know, that was the thing. So what would SJWs do with Barbie? You can only guess. You know, how do I feel about it? I don't know. I don't know what Jim Salicrup's agenda is. DD says the current SJW playbook equals first, unperson the target and take their career, their ability to feed their kids, even their lives. It's okay because they're not really a person. Look at the Nazi T4 program. Arthur Brown, thank you for $2. Robot Frog, Robot Frog, Robot Frog. Those are funny. I like that. Earth Citizen, thanks for $20. Says, good afternoon, Uncle E. Nice to see a live stream I can watch while I'm at work. By the way, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't SJWs consider criticism a personal attack since their ethos is words of violence? Hashtag hypocrisy. Yeah, but you know what? Like, they lie about what you do anyway. It doesn't matter what you say or do, they're going to lie about it. You just saw it happen. We went through it, and it was important that while we went through the whole event, that I reminded you about what this was, where it sprang from. We started from the beginning with the whole Dan Panosian versus Claire Napier confrontation, and you can see that Dan treated her with respect until he finally threw her a little bit of an insult when he said, practice your drawing before you criticize someone like me, which to me is just, it's a flex. You know, it's like these people have zero respect. These people have zero respect. What are you going to do? I mean, you should, you know, even if you don't respect somebody as a person, you should be aware that somebody like Dan Panosian is an incredibly skilled artist who has earned respect for what he does. These people are not capable. They were not parented right as children. They are not capable of offering respect to people who deserve respect. They think they are equally worthy of respect that they didn't earn as somebody like Dan Panosian is. And that's where this all came from. So Dan Panosian gave her a little kind of, he pulled rank on her. And then Frank Tieri came out and he just said, you did nothing wrong, for which he was called a shitheel, told he was circling the wagons for his male friends, and that he's a misogynist. That's what this all started about. And, you know, listen, that's all that happened. And then SJWs will spin that as, you know, an incredible amount of misogyny when, you know, nothing could be further from the truth. Seven Bark said this chat intentionally left blank, so thanks for a $5 tip. Francis Lancer says, hey, respect whammons and stop cursing. Had to curse through this. Had to. There was actual profanity, and I felt like it worked. Timecode Mechanic says, I still have many bad girl characters. I love them. Bad girls were selling. They really did. People like those Bad Girls comics. McGee is here. It's McGee. Crystal McGee says, check out the Good Night Nightmare Realm #1 on Indiegogo. We're so close to $14,000. Congrats, McGee. Congrats. All right, scroll back down the other way. Tyler Keller says, what kind of name is Thal? I don't get that either. I don't understand that. Donnie Thumb and Fist says, Tieri already bent the knee, issued an apology. Jason Green says, this has to be Bizarro World. No, it's just SJW World. Jason Green says, I've been fired several times for standing up for what's right. I regret nothing for doing so. No, it's tough. E Hero Andrew says, professionalism died along with Stan Lee. Francis Lanzer says, remember, girls block, men mute. I used to make that mistake. Yeah, I mute a lot of people. People say, why do you interact with some of these people on Twitter? I mute 90% of the lunatics that attack me, and then I'll make an example out of one of them. So 1 in 10 will get a response from me, and then they'll get maximum 2 responses, and then they get muted too. And I only use them to entertain the crowd. Twitter has to be an entertainment medium. People who follow me should be entertained. Shmeev says, notice how the pros on Frank's side only talk about Frank and his relationship with him, while the SJW pros are calling on other pros to side with them. Yeah. Victoria Meets World, thanks for $5. And Victoria Meets World, another $5. Tieri wimped out by apologizing. He dogged his friends that defended him. It's over for him. Not street smart. He will now be known as a dog to be toyed with. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. You can't do that. You have to stand up. You have to stand up, and you cannot kneel to these people. Fuck Google says your analysis is instructive to the mindset of an SJW. I'm just trying to teach you guys. Thunderbird says another quality stream, Uncle E. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And KD tips me $2. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to get to work. I got to draw the rest of this Heather Swain page. I'll show you guys again for those who are coming in. Let's see. Oh, yeah. All right. So this is Heather Swain at the age of 18 when Cyberfrog first meets her. And it's basically what I'm doing here is redrawing. This is Cyberfrog number 1 from 1996, by the way. Yeah, it used to be like, seriously, like, what the, you know what I mean? Like, that's where we're coming from. Like, that's the way comics were 20 years ago. And people were just like, oh, yeah, just crotch shot, you know. That was how it was. Where's Heather Swain? Oh, yeah, just redrawing this page, this classic introduction of Heather Swain with Ben Reilly behind her there, Deathfly, you know, reintroducing Heather Swain to people. So I'm going to be doing this now. Let's see, Butter Song outro. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, you know what? In order to play piano, I need to live stream from my phone. I look tired. I got lines under my eyes. I did get some sleep last night, but I might do it because I wrote a couple more songs, so I might want to play you guys a little concert a little bit later on. Maybe tonight. Maybe tonight we'll do another live stream. All right, guys. Love you all. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thanks for your support. Be good to each other out there. Go say hi to Frank Tieri. Tell him he shouldn't have apologized, but he's a good guy anyway. And again, what can we learn from this? Stand up for yourself. Stand up for each other. The only way to beat SJWs is unity, loyalty, and strength. It's the only way to do it. When you see them being swarmed, stand up for each other. I'll do it for you if you do it for me, and that's important. If you bow, if you kneel, then there are problems. All right. Jerkmonger, says great Heather art. You killed it. Hey, thanks, Elliot. Wow, that's big coming from you. Appreciate it. And then Nobody Knows 808. Thanks for $10. Ethan, I watched Cat Pan in Russian. The movie was great in full Russian. Whoever did Brie Larson's voiceover, he did. I mean, she was great. Made Brie sound like a strong white male. Joking. I wish I'd seen it. Oh, okay. Thanks very much, everyone. I'll see you again later. I'll probably do another quickie live stream. I'm going. I mean, the problem with just doing live streams is, again, look at my look at my subscriber count. I mean, it looks like a cityscape. Google or YouTube really messes with you when you don't do recorded videos and you only do live streams. Your channel does not grow. It just doesn't grow. So I'll appreciate it if you guys will come here. If you enjoy these live streams, it's easier for me to get work done when I just keep in touch with you this way. It's important to keep the channel going. I've got to produce some content, so it's better to just do it live. And if you guys will please like these live streams, that would be really, really appreciated. Share them. If you haven't seen the whole thing, go back and watch it again, please. That'll keep my channel growing while I finish up Cyberfrog. So appreciate you all, and I will see you again. I'll see you again tonight. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.